now first with the national anthem.
We can start singing.
The recording.
The recording.
Keep singing.
We can sing it.
गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे
Small offering of the Wisdom Foundation. Thank you very much for spending so much of your time and being with us. And before I proceed, I would like to give a welcome to my dignitaries who have, Kumar Ketkarji has come all the way from Delhi for us, and each one of the distinguished speakers and delegates are very, very busy people, but each one of them has been here for us. So I would like to start with the thanks. So, my chief guest, Shri Kumar Ketkarji, Honorable Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha. We are waiting for our dignitary, Shri Balachandra Mungekar, who is the former Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, and a very honorable dignitary and member as a guest of honor. We are waiting for him to come. Shri Abhesh Tipseji, who is the judge of the former judge of the Bombay High Court, and I'm going to introduce him as he goes about speaking. And we have as a guest of honor also Nirmala Prabhavalkarji, who was the former mayor of Mumbai. And we have Shri Tushar Gandhi ji, who is our guest of honor, who is not only a peace activist and a writer, but the great grandson of our Mahatma Gandhi, after who we run this foundation. We run this foundation on the values and ideals set by Mahatma Gandhi ji. And we have Mr. P.A. Inamdar, who is a very distinguished and a very prominent educationalist. I'm going to read out his biodata as he goes on to speak. And we have with us Sri Saroj Bana, who is the executive editor of Business India, a very distinguished writer, author, reflector, thinker with us. And we have with us our guest of honor, Father Gilbert, Father Dr. Gilbert D'Souza, De Lima, and Father is the professor at St. Pius College, very distinguished and a great writer, and of course Professor Ram Punyani, who has been part of my foundation from the day Kumar Ketkarji and Professor Ram have been from the day we breathed. We started breathing the foundation, they have been with us. So welcome, and he is the president of CXXX. And we have as our guest of honor a very special person, Mrs. Srimati Dolly Thakure.
Doctor.
A very, very distinguished person and a very dear friend who's going to give us her own reflections. Yeah. So with that, I would like to say also I want to welcome Shri Keshav Prabhuji from ISKCON and his colleague. thank you for being with us, sir. They are our special dignitaries, Maulana Umri, who is with us. Maulana Mustaqim was very kind enough to write for our book, the Wisdom Foundation first publication called Winning the Peace Quest. He's a great contributor. And we have with us Maulana Zahir Abbas Sahab has not been very well, so he's not been able to come. We have Bishop Oliver with us, who is very distinguished, come all the way from Thana. Thank you, Bishop sir, for being with us. We are expecting Bodhi Rahul ji, who phoned me this morning to say he might be a bit late in coming, but he is expected to be here with us. And we have all distinguished other academicians, people from civil society and members of the press. So welcome to the Wisdom Foundation's initiative, what we are calling Concerned Citizens Seeking Solutions, fostering unity and solidarity for harmonious coexistence, partnerships for interreligious dialogue, celebrating unity in diversity, and halting crimes against women, which has now become, the topic of the day. I would like Mr. Yusuf Abrahani, who I would first mention, who's going to be with us. Yeah, he's going to be joining us, who's the president of the Islam Gymkhana. Please let me tell you, sir, that without him, this program would not have been possible, nor would it have been possible without the help of and assistance of my friend. Where is he? Mr. Bajihuddin. Please stand up. Please give him a very big hand. He's been with me, lock, stock and barrels, stood by me. I've called him in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, in the middle of the afternoon, and he's always been there. So thank you, Muhammad, for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And we are waiting for Dr. Mungekar to come in before we offer the bouquet of flowers. And I want to thank Mr. Abrahani, for hosting this event. I want to also thank very much, a friend of mine by the name of Farzana and Siddharth Khanna, who have always supported my foundation. Right from the beginning, whenever I wanted something, I've just made a call and they've been there for me. I want to also thank Dr. Patankar, who's unfortunately, he was on his travels and he's taken ill, but he has also supported my foundation financially. I just have to pick up the phone and say, Dr. Saab, I need you, and he and his wife kindly are always there for us. So thank you, Dr. Patankar. And, Mr. Siddiqui, who was in Delhi, so, he was, would be coming in, and a few people may come in a little later because they had other engagements. So welcome very much to all of you. Now, since we await to give away the bouquets,
Cancel the bouquet.
No, I can't.
Or later on, probably.
Okay.
It will give.
Yeah.
All right.
It will take a lot of disruption.
Yes.
Okay. So let me start with this, that I have a very brief address as to why we have called for this meeting and how we want. Please sit here, Farida. Please sit.
Somebody else.
Oh, Mr. Bhagat Chandra.
Yeah.
Please come. Please sit here in front. Yeah. Join. I would like to start with what the Wisdom Foundation is about. The Wisdom Foundation is a secular, democratic initiative enshrining the principles of non-violence, peace building, communal harmony, conflict transformation, and humanitarian service. It believes in the Gandhian norms that non-violence, of peaceful non-violence and coexistence. As Mahatma Gandhi said, a small body, and I quote him, a small body of determined spirits fired by an unquenchable faith in their mission can alter the course of history. And we are very proud to have you. Thank you for being with us, Tushar.
And I'm just the biological there.
It assists, the Wisdom Foundation assists and collaborates with like-minded organizations in national and international areas of mutual interest. The aim of the Wisdom Foundation is to direct its energies in fostering peaceful engagement at various levels, designing programs and creating and executing strategies for peace and justice in civil society, It engages in strengthening positive resources, in precluding conflict by facilitating dialogue, deepening understanding, and building cooperation and collaboration irrespective of belief or culture. And regarding today's roundtable, over centuries, India's unique composite heritage of unity in diversity, surrounded by its rich multicultural and religious traditions, successfully managing its many diversities and multiple identities, have defined India today, what we call in the idea of India. For millennia, such unity in diversity, admired transnationally and hailed internationally, entails our heartfelt celebration and a very happy anniversary, 77th anniversary for our independence. The remarkable enrichment, and at a time when India faces complex and omniscient challenges, it is time for citizens to rise and shine, holding our flag of fraternity high and advocating unity, harmony, solidarity, and harmony. Please welcome, sir. Please come. We welcome our very distinguished, honorable guest of honor and a great dignitary, ex-member of the Rajya Sabha, and also the distinguished Vice Chancellor of Mumbai University, and loads of other things that we will tell you about later. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm sorry we had to begin the program. The remarkable enrichment of India's heritage, its inimitable reciprocity, accommodation and dialogue are ways of ensuring communal amity. And the important fact is that the values of this composite cultural, religious harmony and synchronization were not gifted to India. On the contrary, they have been ingrained in India's composite culture. The time is ripe for citizens to seek concrete solutions rather than lament. We have been hearing a lot of lament. The time is also ripe to reinforce engagement through our legacy of humanitarian values, respect for all humanity and human dignity for one and for all. It is our collective duty to seek peaceful solutions for solidarity, to preserve India's age-old phenomenal legacy of unity and diversity, honoring the Constitution with its observance and adherence to the implementation of the democratic norm of the rule of law, of tolerance, of peaceful coexistence, and taking it forward with these values into the 21st century. The vital cohesive force that binds us together and the all-embracing Indian concept of the human family, which is conveyed in the ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is the whole, which means that the whole world is a family, is hung outside the Parliament House. This is a laudable norm that is hung outside our Parliament House, that promotes the idea that human beings are interconnected and interdependent. It encourages compassion, empathy, engagement towards closeness, to look beyond differences and to recognize that humanity promotes unity and harmony among individuals, communities, and nations. It encourages people to work together towards common goals, reduce conflict, and to promote peace. The sentiment of religious harmony, likewise originating in the ancient Indian scripture of the Rig Veda, admirably displays plurality of religious thought. I'm using some Sanskrit words, so I don't pronounce them exactly, please do forgive. Which is called Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vedanti.
Correct, you pronounce it right.
Yes, wise people explain the same truth in different manners, or again, truth is one and the wise understand it differently. It also literally means that Islam also likewise, please note, promotes the concept of the human family. There are many traditions of the Prophet which have spoken about the human family, and that people who love the human family, God loves them. So with Christianity, and so with Buddhism, and so with Bahaism, and all the other religions that one has to deal with. In Swami Vivekananda's address at the Parliament of World Religions, in his final session on the 27th of September 1893, in his last speech, he said something that became an accomplished fact. And he said that he thanked the noble souls for organizing the Parliament of World Religions, and which he felt proved to the world that holiness, purity and charity are not exclusive possessions of any church in the world, and that every system has produced men and women of the most exalted character. He finished his speech with the appeal: help, not fights; assimilation, not destruction; harmony and peace, and not dissension. Like every member of society, the role of religious leaders presently takes center stage. To all our religious leaders, welcome. They are our special dignitaries today. Religion represents a unique, transformant, transcendent power. It's a captivating power and a spiritual pathway reflected in the heritage of dwelling around the perfection of the human soul and shared humanitarian values. Like a rainbow with different colors and hues that are so different, yet stand together to reflect what we call a rainbow. Without them standing together, there is no rainbow. And connecting the magical dots in the infinite universe, we look towards distinguished religious leaders present here, building partnerships of friendship and solidarity of mutual respect. Thank you for being with us. As individuals, our efforts towards harnessing common core values of good thoughts, good words, and good deeds that are the core basis of all religions. We need to unleash the power of the human spirit to change hearts and minds from dislike and exclusivism to inclusion, for mutual well-being and to honor our common humanity. As Allama Iqbal, a writer, has said, खुद ही को कर बुलंद इतना कि हर तकदीर से पहले खुदा बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. Shall we turn to strive to move towards a world where there is room for safety and goodwill for one and all, to come together holding hands to meet challenges and problems that belager and threaten humanity and threaten our nation. Like a bouquet of splendorous, beautiful flowers, appreciating differences yet standing together, fostering harmony. We promote love and understanding. And I'm going to make a suggestion at the end of this talk as to how we can go about doing it. And as Sant Kabir has stated, Pothi pad pad kar jag hua, Pandit bhaya na koi, Dhai akshar prem ka jo pade, wohi Pandit hoye. Gender concerns are very, very important and they must have our undivided attention. Standing together as concerned citizens, we strongly need to condemn the savage, horrifying, increasing acts of brutality, rape, molestation, assault against 50% of humanity, and that is our women. The recent outrageous act of disrobing women, parading them through the streets of Manipur, violating their modesty, indignifying them, is akin to barbarous, heinous acts in the Dark Ages. We don't live in the Dark Ages anymore.
Don't we?
Well, that's a question we have to answer.
We are coming back to that.
We the people must hang our heads in shame and mortification that such acts are also committed in Bengal, Rajasthan, Haryana, UP or anywhere else. You see, we stand committed to that. Can we claim to be called civilized? Protection and safety of our women and the marginalized sections of our community and the marginalized sections is extremely important. It is our bounden duty as citizens to pledge that fortification, that we stand together to see that no human being is violated. Focusing on humanity, cutting across caste, class, gender, religion, ethnicity, the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, taught us ahimsa, reverence for life, which we rarely see today. Inclusiveness, human rights, ensuring equality of life and liberty of all Indian citizens alike, irrespective of any kind of cultural or religious differences. He taught us the way forward, that life and liberty was of every Indian mattered and counted. And thank you for writing about that, Dishan. And every Indian voice counts. And are we going to sit with our voices shut, or are we going to speak and trying to make a difference? In essence, we must revive Mahatma Gandhi's concept of national integration and the oneness of humanity. Hateful acts towards religious groups propagated by those who perceive a profound ignorance of the other and are caught in cycles of mutual blame and hate require nullification. Our composite civilization defines our Indianness and defines our worldview. Like dharma or deen, we embrace civilizations not by muscular cajoling but by embracing camaraderie and harvesting. And today we have to pledge that. The most question is, what kind of a world do we want to leave for our children? Unfortunately, challenges remain greater than ever. On several fronts, the whole world is facing the existentialist crisis, the ongoing battle for the soul of humanity and the heart of humanity. Instead of moving forward with the agenda of coexistence, the global rhetoric of us and them, that is China, and that is US, and that is this, and that is that, has intensified narrowing the already limited space of understanding that exists. As partners of humanity, the task currently to look at what is happening in Ukraine. It's very sad. The task that we have to currently is tutor the outlook on xenophobia that is developed. A circumscribed kind of nationalism and a prospective democracy. And in conclusion, I would just like to say, how do we make that difference? What do we do? As citizens, how do we promote? So we have to understand that our constitution has given us the preamble of our constitution speaks of unity, integrity, fraternity, equality, justice, integrity, and these are non-negotiable. For each and every citizen of this country, we have to be together and raise our voices and resound it strongly. The fundamental duty that is defined in Article 51 is E of the Constitution, and I'm quoting, it is the duty of every citizen of India to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce the practice of derogatory even to the dignity of women. The notion championed by the Indian independence movement has shown us that. A promotion of communal harmony was shown to us by our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, by Jawaharlal Nehru, by Dr. Ambedkar, by Maulana Azad, by I can't name umpteen people from every religious tradition in our country. Muslims in India must be part of the process of India's advancement. We cannot sit down and watch things just pass you by. You have to be active participants, and in the past, Dr. Inamdar will tell us how we have to go about doing this. In the past and present, we have produced distinguished social reformers, scientists, educationalists, attorneys. We have Begum Ayaz Rasool, Abadi Begum, B. Amma, Hazrat Mahal, Maulana Mumtaz Ali, Maulana Chirag Ali, Justice Amir Ali. You have Ustad Vilayat Khan in the musical section. You have Azim Premji today, who is a great donor. So you have these people take those resources and move forward for us. And communal harmony programs, there has to be an outreach. And you know what I'm planning for all of us, if Mr. Amrani is agreeable, and that we have a small place where we meet all our religious leaders and we plant a rose garden. Or we make a beautiful garden that we ourselves make. And over there say nice things about each other instead of the bad things. We don't seem to say nice things about us, anyone anymore. We only hear the negativities and we don't hear the positivities. So something of that kind. Inter and interfaith dialogue. The interfaith dialogue is not enough. Interfaith dialogue among the Muslims, among the Maulanas, among all citizens together. How can we move forward? How can we unite? How can we think, get on the right track? And so also it's a quintessential part. Silence is not an option anymore. We have to do something. And we have to foster diversity. We have to promote conversation. We can do through sports. I have many ideas where we can play together, where we can paint together, where we can be together, where we can be happy together. That is the idea that, happiness is such a good part. And this one thing, the requisite conversation among the people of India solicits comments. We have to comment and conversation. And we have, as the Venerable Buddha has said, it is time to turn the poison into medicine. And, a very great poet has said, चमन में इख्तलाफ़े रंग व बू की बात से बात बनती है. हम ही हम हो तो क्या हम है, तुम ही तुम हो तो क्या तुम. Thank you very much. With that, मेरा तो छोटा मुंह और बड़ी बात है, लेकिन we have amongst us very, very distinguished people here, very people, who are value-oriented people and treasures to India. They are all here with us, and you will hear them. So our chief guest, I request him now to give his speech, but before that, please let me tell you, he has not only been a distinguished journalist for so many years, for over 4 decades, renowned newspaper groups for the Times of India, Maharashtra Times, Indian Express Group, presently a member of the Rajya Sabha Upper House, elected without opposition in 2018, member of the Urban Development Committee 2019-20, member of the External Affairs Committee 2018 to 19, ex-member of Civil Aviation Committee, awards and honors Padma Shri in the year 2001, C.D. Deshmukh Award for Excellence in Economic and Financial Writing, Giants International Award for International Coverage, Rajiv Gandhi Award for what more can we ask for? Please give him a very big hand. He got a Padma Bhushan in journalism by the Maharashtra government and Lifetime Achievement Journalism Award for Maharashtra. So here we have, to hear his words of wisdom, I give you Kumar Kelkarji, our chief guest.
Actually, I am quite embarrassed, more than honored, to be chief guest for this really august function. Nobody can refuse when Janatari invites for any function. So even I agreed to come, but my idea was that I will be one of the persons attending the convention and not chief guest. She has converted my role into chief guest, while there are far better, superior, more knowledgeable and recognized individuals here who should have been the chief guest. But anyway, now that she has imposed that responsibility on me, I will speak. The subject I think she has elaborated, so I don't want to repeat anything what she said. We are all familiar with Gandhiji and Buddha and Nehru and everybody. We are all familiar with Jesus and Muhammad. We are all familiar with good ideas, good advice, good sense, and yet we are not behaving exactly the way we should be behaving as collectively, not individually. Even individually, but more so collectively. At which point did this happen? It is not as if we were saints before and now we have become villains. It is not as if it has started only after Narendra Modi became Prime Minister in 2014, which according to me is the major turning point in India's history of converting even the social fabric, even the social relationship into poisonous relationship. And I'm not saying this as a part of my party's position, because party's position may not be like that. I consider that poison was already there amongst us, and that poison has come to the surface after Modi came to power. The point that I am trying to drive, I will not take more time because there are so many speakers. I will just finish in 4 or 5 minutes. At which point did the transformation begin actually? I think it is somewhere between 1989 and 92 when the tide began to turn, and it completed its major cycle in 2014 when Modi came to power. In 1989, the Berlin Wall failed, and soon between 1989 and 1991, so many East European countries failed, and in 1991, Soviet Union disintegrated. And in 1992, Babri Masjid fell. And in 1993, Yeltsin himself ordered in 93 an attack on his parliament by tanks and bombs. So it is between 89 and 93 that the things globally began to radically change. No wonder in 1993, Samuel Huntington wrote Clash of Civilizations, and immediately after fall of Berlin Wall, it is no coincidence that Fukuyama wrote End of History. So 1989, we were taught end of history. We thought now emerging borderless world. If you remember the globalization of 1991, the books that appeared on the market were borderless world. Now there will be no borders. It was in 1991 that finalization of the Schengen visa was done and the euro currency was officially admitted. Later on it became regular currency. So in 1991, till 1991, if you are going to Europe, you had to take 9 or 10 visas if you are visiting 8 or 9 countries, even by train. Suddenly, after 1991, slowly it became common visas, and in 1996 it became even common currency. So the so-called unity that was considered to be the hallmark of the globalization actually has proved to be a total disunity, as manifested in not only Soviet Union's disintegration, but soon after that, between 92 and 1999, even Yugoslavia disintegrated completely. One country called Yugoslavia became something like 7 republics along with Kosovo. At that time, after Babri Masjid, for the first time, people began to wonder whether India will have the same fate as that of Yugoslavia and Soviet Union. That means disintegration. That means multiple civil wars, ethnic wars. It is no accident again that just 10 years after the 1992 Babri Masjid destruction, in 2002, Gujarat was virtually partitioned. Many of you must have traveled to Gujarat. If you are sitting in an auto rickshaw and if you tell them you want to go to the next place, and he takes, "Acha, but वो तो रास्ता पाकिस्तान से जाता है." So much was the geographical, demographical, and political and cultural and religious division in Gujarat when I went there as a journalist, I found. So all that began in 1992, ended up in 2002, exactly 10 years later, and 10 years after that, Modi began to come to power in 2014, but the process began in 2012. So it is continuously sliding down. So while we say and agree that we must fight back, time is actually running out. Just as Jinat Ali ji said that there were dark ages, Tushar immediately raised the question, are we not passing through dark ages? I personally feel, without sounding pessimist or alarmist, that we are actually passing through dark ages, and if we do not change the regime, in 2024, the dark age era will continue. But I must also caution that even if there is a change in regime and change in government, the dark ages will not disappear. Because the darkness is so deep into the minds and the souls and the hearts of the people now, that even if there is a change in government and change in so-called Prime Minister, the continuity of this particular poison is going to destabilize our society and our country. My fear is also, my one fear is that he will come back. Another fear is that he will not come back. Because if he doesn't come back and if we do not sort it out, for instance, can we reverse many of the laws that he has brought in? If we can't and if we have a kind of succumb to the pressures of the public, the so-called public, then we will be continuing the same process. I find that in many parties, including Congress sometimes, the kind of softness towards the communal positions. I remember, and I'm not giving you some secret, but I remember when 370 was abolished by the government, there were many congressmen who were happy. I also remember that in 1992, when the Babri Masjid was destroyed, there were many congressmen who were happy. I am not speaking as a congressman here. I am more a journalist and an observer and more a concerned citizen for which we have come together. So the fight is also within. Generally, the convention is that don't fight the fish in the pond or in the lake or in the sea, because the fish is friendly. All seafood is friendly. No, it's not seafood. Seafish is friendly. It is not so. There are sharks and there are small fishes. We are living in the world of, in the sea of sharks, and we have to fight the sharks. And they are amongst us. They are not outside. They are even in our families. I can tell you by my personal experience that after 2014, even my family and my friends' families are completely divided on the question of this strange phenomenon which was not there till 1992 or certainly not there till 2002 of who is a Hindu and who is a Muslim. Before 1992 there was a film called Garam Hawa, but even then that was passing phase. Nobody ever described any housing society in terms of how many Muslims are there in your society. Suddenly the things began to change. The names on the plates of the housing societies began to change. In offices and banks, a kind of official or unofficial instructions that when the minority is arriving at seeking a loan, try to ignore it. If minority person is seeking admission in college or university, ignore it. So this kind of was done not by the government, not by Modi. It was done by the people on the ground, the management of the ground. And therefore, the fight is not only at the highest political level, but it is also at our level, at our family level, at our neighborhood level. And if we do not fight that, if we do not fight the poison of communalism within our society, housing society, not just society, within our housing society, within our schools, within our colleges, with all our surroundings, then perhaps even change of regime will not necessarily bring change of heart or change of atmosphere. So the task for us is extremely hard and tough. As we know, even the phrases like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam are misused. On G20 they write Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and then they ban some of the Islamic countries. They don't want in BRICS, Saudi Arabia and Iran. What to do with Saudi Arabia and Iraq is a question. Now both of them are Muslim countries. So on the one hand you shout Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, on the other hand you try to avoid certain countries and on the basis of certain religions. So, and in Manipur we have seen the ethnicity has created a new crisis. So, and India, while we appreciate and always promote and always discuss diversity and unity in diversity, actually what we are seeing in Manipur is not unity but disunity and further diversity. And disunity in diversity is going to be the real dangerous trend. I don't know whether Manipur is a template for the whole country. Manipur can be a template because soon after that happened Haryana, and even that fire has not been completely extinguished, even in Haryana. So just as Manipur is actually now, the fire is spreading across northeast, the Haryana fire is also spreading in the north. So time has come for us to be aware of the danger. We are passing actually through dark ages, and if these dark ages do not get halted, then like in the Oppenheimer film's last scene, then the whole world will perish. One Nobel laureate, Martin Rees, physicist in London, said, perhaps we are passing through the last century. His book's title is Our Final Century. Actually, second title is Our Final Hour. And that final hour, according to him, is not because of nuclear catastrophe, but also because the societies are getting divided completely, and the mindless use of technology. We are seeing the mindless use of technology. According to Martin Rees, he is a scientist and he fears the mindless use of technology, which is poisoning the minds of people, and the minds of people will bring about a catastrophe which will be the final century, 21st one. Thank you very much. I don't want to sound pessimist because we are all capable of fighting. We'll change these dark ages into better time and better life for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Kumarji, for that extremely thought-provoking and interesting, of course, but phenomenally something that we have to think about. How are we going to overcome this? How are we going to override this tide that is overwhelmingly overtaking us? Thank you, Kumarji. I now invite our special guest of honor, who is a notable dignitary and a former member of the Rajya Sabha, and a very distinguished economist, educationalist, social worker, former Rajya Sabha member. He specializes in agriculture and economics as an expert on Dr. Ambedkar. When Dr. Manmohan Singh government reconstituted the Planning Commission and nominated new members, the person whose name aroused the greatest interest was that of Shri Balachandra L. Mungekar, Doctor,
It may from different point.
who was given the charge of education, labor and employment, social justice, and tribal affairs. He has numerous achievements to his credit. He has also been the Vice Chancellor of the Mumbai University, and he has served in the Planning Commission of the Agricultural Price Commission of India. Dr. Mungekar has also been the chairperson of the president of the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies in Shimla, the chairman of the University Grant Commission, the chairman of the Education People Society, eminent
Whatever.
Rajiv Gandhi, fellow of the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, and he has numerous books and awards to his credit. There is so much I have to say about him. Please,
What at the cost of my time?
yes, I'll take your time. That's true.
Dr. Vajina Jain, distinguished colleagues. First of all, I thank you for organizing this discussion among the people, those who would be considered as very seriously concerned towards what is happening in the country. Briefly to say that in the economic sense, in 1991 when Dr. Manmohan Singh and P.V. Narasimha Rao, see, it's very wrong to say that economic reforms were brought only by Dr. Manmohan Singh. Had Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao would have not been there, Manmohan Singh could not have done anything, and that was the condition of Dr. Manmohan Singh when he was approached by P.V. Narasimha Rao that I want completely free hand to frame the economic policies. Dr. P.C. Alexander told me once, because P.C. Alexander mentioned to P.V. Narasimha Rao at this point of time only Dr. Manmohan Singh can overcome the economic crisis in the country. But that was the dividing line as far as Indian economy is concerned. What happens was, despite the fact that we have got higher rate of economic growth if we compare to what was earlier considered as the Hindu rate of economic growth, by Raj Krishna mentioned this Hindu rate of economic growth, it was around 3.5% between 1951 and 1964. And he called Hindu Retapuram because Hindus are moving very slowly. Okay, that's why Marx was saying Hindus or India doesn't have history of that kind. But then the question was that economic reforms, it divided the academic community, extreme left and extreme right. But one thing certain that it was kind of attack on welfare state. There was no, amount of ruthlessness, either yes or no, that the country was divided. But having said, the performance of the Indian economy was relatively satisfactory post 1991. It exasperated the economic inequality, and at present today, according to World Inequality Report of the International Monetary Fund, 1% of the people are having 54% of the national income and 73% of the wealth. Plato has said that too much economic inequality is bad for any society, moreover for democracy, because this kind of economic inequality and political democracy, personal liberty, they can't coexist. This is economic crisis, which was further exasperated after 2014 when Narendra Modi came to power. Soviet Union's disintegration is the major event in the 21st century. In 1917, the Russian Revolution was considered as the important event in the world history. Then counter-revolution in 1984 when Soviet Union disintegrated, it was also the notable, because that removed the countervailing power so far American imperialism was concerned. Imperialism is the word which is not used nowadays because in market economy it has replaced the capitalism. Similarly, imperialism has no place in the academic discipline. The question is that we are facing today the question growth without without jobs and along with economic inequality. And unfortunately, it is, according to me, having spent nearly 30-40 years in practical politics and political economy, there is no point in, beyond the limit, to criticize the existing ruling party or ruling dispensation. To the large extent, or to the substantial extent, the so-called opposition parties are also equally responsible. And why they are responsible? Basically because there is nothing substantial difference between the ruling party and the opposition parties in this country after 1991. Let us remember, when we say opposition parties, there is no genuine fundamental difference between the policies of the opposition parties and Bharatiya Janata Sangh or BJP to the extent that matter. The only dividing line in the political economy in this country is that of communists. I was considered communist, though they are declining absolutely at the fastest possible rate on one hand, and non-communist or anti-communist together. Because what happens is, today you are the opposition party, you are doing something. When you become the ruling party, you are doing exactly opposite, and without any kind of, it is a matter of convenience, and ideology is not a matter of convenience. It is a matter of conviction. See, today we are having the politics of convenience and not the convictions. Because what happens is, yesterday's Prime Minister, today opposition party leader, and today's opposition party leader, tomorrow Prime Minister. So that's why the division that we are calling and we are observing, that is so superficial. The next point is 2014 is dividing line, in the sense that right from 1951 to 2014, though different political parties ruled for different periods of time, they were operating within the Indian constitutional framework, including Vajpayee. They were considering the constitutional framework. Mr. Modi has departed and he doesn't care, doesn't bother for constitutional framework. In fact, they don't bother for democracy. They are not responsible for democracy because their basic gospel, I would say, is that bunch of thoughts which Golwalkar wrote in 1966. Where there is chapter 26, Golwalkar has clearly mentioned that no democracy. When women are demanding freedom, he said that another ism is coming into existence, that is sexism. Means women's liberation movement, women's freedom movement, he considered that sexism. And chapter 26 he has clearly written, there are three internal enemies. First Muslim, second Christians, and third communists. And after 2014, they got only 186. In 2019, they got 303. Only single party government, which was notional so far India was concerned. And their entire operational politics is around the way the script has been written by Golwalkar in 1966. In that sequence, they are destroying Jawaharlal Nehru University, which is the only university in the country by the world standard. All are just like Jilla Parishad schools, all universities. Okay? Jawaharlal Nehru University, because all talented students across the country, they are converging there. And Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad would have been there in place of Student Federation of India, Communist. Okay? They considered that this Mr. Prakash Kara, Sitaram Yechuri, that was the recruiting center. That is why, and you know what is happening about Muslims. After reading sufficiently, and please kindly excuse me, reading sufficiently Hitler and Mussolini, one thing is absolutely clear, and that was understood clearly by Jawaharlal Nehru. Why they are against Nehru? In Italy, the way Mussolini brought fascism, the way Hitler brought fascism in Germany, there is difference in conditions and difference in model to some extent. Nehru correctly argued that fascism in India will not come in the way they came in Germany and Italy. Fascism confining only to Italy and Germany. Rest of the countries which are having the elements or some symptoms of fascism, they are described in political theory as neo-fascism. That's why, according to Nehru, neo-fascism would be coming through majority communalism. And majority communalism is symbolized one simple word, that is Hindutva. In 1923, Savarkar wrote Hindutva, a pamphlet. It was just a pamphlet. Okay? Savarkar was not intellectual in conventional sense with the way Ranade or Ambedkar was there. But that Hindutva is a potent force. Unfortunately, Indian communists have done greatest disservice to the Marxism. Marx never categorically said that basic structure and superstructure. He mentioned that even when idea, there was the basic debate between Hegel and Marx, even idea, when accepted by the masses, it operates as a material force. That's why Hindutva is not just operating at consciousness level. For majority of the people, those who are subscribing to the existence of what brings in Hindu Rashtra, that is for them Hindutva is a material force. Most important tangible. I don't want to go into the conflict between or disagreement between Hegel and Marx. But the question is, today we are having, in 2014, we began the era of counter-revolution. That counter-revolution is neo-fascism. Today we are having economic crisis, crony capitalism. In the planning commission between 2007 and 2011, I was part, fortunately, for planning commission. 52 airports government constructed. 52. Earlier airports you must have traveled definitely. They were just like yesterday post. And all 52 airports now Modi is having. Bombay airport, for example, Adani airport now. They changed the conditions because the operationalization of the airport could be handed over to the person or the firm which was having earlier experience. That clause they removed. That we call that crony capitalism. Second, social, for example. Dalits, historically they have been butchered. Then Muslims. See, I was expecting certain depth reading sufficiently. Even, I don't know, let us not widen the debate, okay? How Gita and Ramayana, etc., they are sources of the violence. There's a book now, Violence in Ancient India. Mahabharata begins with war and ends with the war. Ramayana, war. That's why violence is the basis from the philosophical perspective is concerned. Now the question is, I was not expecting that Muslims will be attacked to that extent physically. I was just thinking that they will be blocked economically, they will be harassed. But when physically they are liquidated, simple illustration may be there. Forget about the genocide. Even academic people in this country considered that Godhra was communal riot. It was not communal riot. Communal riot is between two opposite gangs, to quote Bipin Chandra. It was just Muslim genocide, one-sided genocide sponsored by the state. That was about the Muslims. Women, now I had got even statistic, between 2018 and 2020, 11 lakh atrocities have taken place against the Muslims, against the women. And nearly 55,000 number of atrocities taken place against women annually on an average in UP. 35,000 in Maharashtra. Maharashtrian people, they are so arrogant. Maharashtrians and Bengal, they are two arrogant states in the country. But Maharashtrian themselves consider that Maharashtra जगला तर कोण मरेल आणि महाराष्ट्र मेला तर कोण जगेल. It means if Maharashtra survives, who will die, and if Maharashtra dies, who will survive? But entire foreign aggression, they have been attacked by Sikhs. In 1984, when Mrs. Gandhi was assassinated, all Hindus were of the opinion that there should be bomb. Punjab should be, Sikh should be bomb. We brought the Green Revolution. And after food we are taking, and with that is Green Revolution. Because immediately, and that is why Bipin Chandra was absolutely right. He said, liberal secular and liberal communal, there is very thin distinction. Either you have to be secular, you have to be communal. There is nothing like liberal secular or liberal communal. At most appropriate time, liberal communal become communal. And that is precisely happening. Now the last point is, after saying this, we are talking about the constitution. Mr. Venkatachalaya, when commission was there, and then Vajpayee government appointed, reviewing the constitution. Because they don't believe in the constitution, okay? Right from 1925, they don't believe in democracy. They believe in what is called in Marathi, Ek Chalakanuvartitva. Ek means one, Chalakanuvartitva means one state, one leader, one nation, one flag, one religion, one culture, one party, not even dual party like America. For example, president, Republican and democracy, what's the distinction? Nothing. No American president will be born able to help India out of the sympathy, because India is the emerging country, whether Modi is there or Modi may not be there. That's why Vivek Devarai recently wrote an article in Mint, We the People, and he said obviously wrong things. So he's my personal friend. He has made mockery of the understanding. He said, since most of the things have been taken in the constitution from 1935 Act, okay, our constitution is a relic of the slave nation. Ambedkar himself has said again and again, 60% of the provisions of the Indian constitution have been borrowed from Government of India Act. Ambedkar never claimed that he drafted the constitution. He said, I was hacked. I mean, he has instrument to draft. Anyway, now the constitution will be replaced. Okay, they are trying. The most important thing is that they say that what is the necessity of preamble, Debroi said. One preamble is one sentence. We the people of India, ... give this constitution to ourselves. The entire constitution, 391 articles and 10 annexures, they are just the explanation of this one preamble.
Excellent.
That's how they want to bring something their original. Sati system they want to bring, Chaturvarna they want to bring, early marriage they want to bring. What is original? Law and order was not there. Nation concept itself arose in 18th century. That's the last point is, I'm very sorry to take more time. The class to which we belong to a relatively affluent class. That's why it is not possible for us to go to the road. I mean, person like me throughout my life, even when Vice Chancellor I was trade union, pro-trade union. I given my membership of trade union when I was Vice Chancellor, because I wanted to go back to the university as a teacher. I didn't know that it would occur to Manmohan Singh and appoint me as a member of the rank committee. My point is, as Lenin said, what is to be done? And Lenin said, intellectual warfare. The section of the society to which we belong, our job will be, whether whichever party you will be belonging, whichever party might be voting. As Kumar just now mentioned, that, and I agree to some extent, he said that change of the regime will not change, though it is necessary. And I would say that change of the regime is not sufficient condition to make our society more humane. But change of regime in 2024 is the most necessary condition, because after 2024, if Modi continues to remain in power, nothing will remain in this country other than stones. That's why let us try to engage ourselves into art, your exhibitions, your writings, every activity of ours, whether irrespective of the political parties. Political parties will do their own job, what they undo. It is very difficult to predict because they are unpredictable. My point is, it is people's war. Now they have given the title India, and the slogan will be that Modi versus India. Because at any cost, if Modi returns to power, India will be a historical relief. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
We are getting after a long time.
very brilliant analysis and scary, but nonetheless very true. Thank you for that insights, the deep insights. And this lecture is not enough. We have to extend it, Kumarji. We have to take this further. Okay? So we hope that the Wisdom Foundation and this intellectual warfare is what we are here for. We are here for the warfare of the soul, of the spirit, of being together, of fighting against this, and fight we will. So, मैं हूँ भारत की नार, लड़ने मरने को तैयार, मुझे समझो ना कमजोर लोगों, समझो ना कमजोर. So we'll fight it, okay? Now, may I, Nirmala will speak?
I don't know.
Yes, because you said that you wanted to speak a little later.
But I.
You're ready to speak.
Yeah.
Now, Nirmala ji, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
after
said
Justice
it's a-
Abhay sir. I'm sorry. This is not, this is yours. It was Justice Abhay Saab requires no introduction. He is known for his honesty and integrity as a judge. That, according to me, is a very primary quality of being a judge. Thank you for being with us, sir. We are proud to have you, sir. He is now also an advisor to the Wisdom Foundation. He has graduated from law in 1931, practiced civil and criminal law courts, appointed as a judicial in the service in 1987, promoted to senior branch of judicial service in 1994, appointed as principal district sessions judge in Jalegaon in 2007, elevated to the High Court as Bombay Additional Judge on 17, 2011, and then later on transferred to Allahabad in 2016. And he is being appointed as a Metropolitan Magistrate Judicial Service for the state of Maharashtra in 1987, and has done wonderful things, and he stood by what he believes in. Whatever it may have brought to himself, but he stood by the truth, and I think that is what religion is about, what is our soul about, what we are all about. So I give to you, and one thing that you must know about him, that he was the officer on special duty in August 2003 to represent the High Court with various writ petitions filed in the Supreme Court by several judicial officers from the state from pay to seniority arising from the implementation of recommendations of the Shetty Commission. And Justice Thipse is an internationally rated chess player. Did anybody know that? He's an internationalist, and anyone who can play chess like that certainly cannot be just anyone. Certainly somebody very, very important and a very important figure. He has won several awards. He has won several, he's been a coach, player, organizer at the national and international tournaments. He's part of the chess team. I don't want to take any more of his time, so I give you Justice Thipse. Please, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Jinatari. First of all, I congratulate the Wisdom Foundation for arranging this roundtable conference and inviting me. Now, Kumar Ketkar and Dr. Mungekar, they are really learned people. My learnings are limited to the legal education mostly, and I never pretended that I know more about the other subjects. In fact, I was a judge for 30 years, and it is only after my retirement I started getting invitations from some NGOs, some social groups, which actually surprised me, because as a judge I maintained complete aloofness. And my friend, once upon a time we were together, Nirmala Prabhavkar, she will tell you how aloof I maintained. I never mixed with lawyers also. And so I was surprised. So it was a pleasant surprise for me that somebody reads the judgments and tries to understand what is good, what is bad. I never thought that anybody is undertaking such exercise, and I only knew that I was unpopular in some sections, but I never knew that there were some admirers also who actually read the judgments. And anyway, that's all right. Now about the chess thing, because somebody said, Dr. Uniani said that is the best introduction. I also feel so. My brother is a chess grandmaster. And when you have a grandmaster in your house, you can't boast about your achievements in chess. So I kept quiet all the time because it was very futile. Anyway, now we have these learned speakers before me. They have spoken. I don't know where to start. I don't agree with many of the things which often are said, but I fully agree with what has been said by Kumar Kelkar and Dr. Gundetkar. He is, of course, it reminds me of some of my father's thought, who was a founder member of Sheka Paksha. I don't know.
I know.
Who was a founder member of Sheka
In
Paksha.
1948.
Yes, and unfortunately, of course, I was not born even at that time. And when these debates used to take place, I never paid any serious attention to that, except whatever I could hear. One thing is, we'll start with this. I will first touch the topic, which I will not go in the chronological order. He said that we want the past. Some people want the past. Was the past really glorious? One has to read Dr. Ambedkar to understand what was the past. I don't agree that it was glorious. I don't agree that we had a great civilization. There was no equality in this society. And I don't, as he said, I don't want to widen the gap. My father vehemently used to argue that these olden times, whatever even we call as Suvarnakal, was not really, and it could not have been Suvarnakal, it would be for a limited people only. Tell me, how when today there are no roads in villages, how could it be that that time there will be people who were happy and anybody had access to a king? We believe in such fairy tales. This is all spread by, even I believe, these are my opinion, that the thought of equality, it was like Gautam Buddha propagated. It's not that democratic ideas were not there earlier, but they were short-lived. There was no regular concept of democracy, or those who wanted to bring it, they suffered tremendous opposition from the kings or the religious leaders, and actually they were unsuccessful, I would say. Even Gandhiji was killed ultimately by thought, because there was, so this was already there, this bias between Hindu and Muslims already existed. It already existed, and this is on this theory. Some people have spread it. The theory of these people is that basically we and they, that is the first division between humans, maybe because of religion, because of ethnic group, because of the area in which you live. And then the second part is that for my problems, they are responsible, or they have humiliated me in past, and now I have to take revenge. There is a theory of a certain section who have been spreading these belief or this propaganda that there has been tremendous injustice on Hindus, because he said about Hindu, and now there is a time where Hindus should revolt and take revenge of the past injustices. Whether true or false, we don't know, because all history is being distorted. What I read in my books and now something different I read. I had a serious argument with a person, educated person, who said that Taj Mahal was not built by Shah Jahan, but it was built by a Hindu king. Now such absurd things are believed by, he is a bank official. Because once, these debates are not new. In my childhood also, in our school somebody had come and he had said this. And he said because some Shivalinga was found somewhere in that. So I asked my father. So he said, don't believe this. But even if it is there, that doesn't mean that this is built by, because the laborers actually may be Hindu and somebody may create some small thing there. Now Ayodhya, what happened? The Supreme Court has categorically returned a finding that the idols were surreptitiously inserted in 1949. In spite of this finding, I don't know, it is for you to judge whether the ultimate conclusion or decision matches with this finding, but this finding has come. Means there was a false pretense, there was no evidence of it being a temple, they were inserted, that is clearly said, and that time the district magistrate and some local leaders were in collusion. The second point, as said by both of the speakers, that it doesn't depend only on this which party is in power, because basically we are divided in these religious things. There is not much. Political parties' problems I have realized is that they want votes. And we don't understand, as a society we are not mature enough. Even Dr. Ambedkar was quite pessimistic about success of democracy in this country. I have read it, not as much as he has read, but of course I have read quite a lot, and he was quite pessimistic. We don't want to go very deep into that. But the problem is that democracy cannot succeed in a society which is divided because of religions, economical equality, social order is different, social inequality, as Ambedkar used to put. Now in such a case, what happens is that I prefer a candidate from my community, I prefer a candidate of my beliefs. Then what happens? The other political party adopts those beliefs which are popular. Somewhere I have read that Dr. Ranade was considered as a great leader. And Dr. Ambedkar only, I again quote Ambedkar because, I find that what he wrote at that time is completely applicable today. In fact, that is why what he said, a leader is a person who leads the others. So if you apply the test, you will see the popular leaders are not leading the people. There are some issues in the society always. There is a feeling I have seen when I was a child, in schools, primary school, there was an ill feeling against these South Indians because they had migrated at that time in Mumbai, and I think that period was of that Sanyukta Maharashtra. There were many Marathi people, youth, they were suffering from unemployment, whereas these people had better English and they were stenotypists and all that, and they used to get jobs after having come. So there was a feeling already against them that these people are intruders, they are harming us. And in that, if somebody gives slogan, Hatao Lungi, then immediately the followers are there. But are you a leader? Are you leading the people? Or you are already endorsing what is already in the minds of people and further encouraging them to say that? You automatically become popular. Now, the question is whether proper things are taught to you, whether that leader, you will like that leader. Will you vote for him? Political parties ultimately consider that. If you are not going to temples also, if somebody is going to temples and you feel that, or you are advised that you may be defeated because you are not going to the temples, then you may start going to the temples. I tell you certain things which I experienced. I don't want to raise very volatile subjects, but I was transferred to Allahabad, and then we have the protocol in the High Court. So I went there because this Allahabad means there was no direct flight to Allahabad, that airport being small. So I went from this Varanasi. So Varanasi I went, and the protocol officer was there. So I was to go from there. Now he said that, sir, the Prime Minister is there. They call lordships in the High Court. Lordship, the Prime Minister is there, but we have still managed to keep this time for you for Kashi Vishweshwar Mandir, that puja you will do. I was shocked. I said, in my program, whether it has been mentioned that I will do this puja. They said, no, but it is obvious. How can you will come to Kashi Vishweshwar and go? So I don't want to be, I don't want to sound to be a bad person, So I said, today I am in a hurry, I will come sometime. And the problem with this society, I don't believe that our society is a rational society. I inspected, I've been the principal district judge. Wherever I go for inspection, already arrangement will be there that there is a temple here. At first go to the temple. Without any means, I don't want to go. I may go. See, it's not, the question is not whether I believe in God, I believe in my religion or not. The question is, in my social life, why do you introduce this feature? In all these government offices, Satyanarayan puja is done. You know that? Satyanarayan puja is done. I tried to object to it when I was additional chief metropolitan magistrate, and the chief metropolitan magistrate was on leave, so the charge was with me. People came to me, they said that we have to do puja in this. So I said, where? They said, on the dais that Bhaji will sit and then we'll perform puja. I said, this nonsense will not do. Then the chief metropolitan magistrate telephoned to me. He was my friend. He was, though he was superior to me, he was a friend. He said, "Arey, don't do like this. Why do you do? They are doing." I said, "What is nonsense is in the court on the dais where you sit, that Bhaji will sit and he will perform this puja and all that. No, let him do it elsewhere." So he said, "No, I said, now you are on leave, don't interfere in this." So he said, okay. But you know, they will get the permission from the High Court. That he told me. He was wiser than me. High Court the registrar called me and said, give them permission. So this is what happens. So now what else you want? Hindu Rashtra means, this is Hindu Rashtra according to me. This is already Hindu Rashtra.
Yes.
Now you want Hindu Rashtra means you want to further humiliate them. As far as economic resources are concerned, there are some honest people, and my friends, I talk to them. Was having a debate with one of my friends. His wife was also there, so she was working in a bank. Then while we were agreeing, he was not agreeing with me. And she said, "Yes, it is true. Even for a simple matter like opening a account, we make them visit 3-4 times. Abhi time ho gaya, abhi kal aana." So this is what this sort of harassment is going on. One senior minister in the BJP government, former minister, has, while we were discussing, have accepted before me that what you say is true, that bias is deep rooted. He said that when I was of 4 to 5 years, my mother used to tell me, "Arey, don't go that side, otherwise the Musalman will come and take you away." So we don't know where it is spread, and it has been spread. But earlier they used to whisper because they thought that because of this constitution we can't say this openly. Then people like Gandhi, why Gandhi was not liked by them? Because this sort of nonsense, he thought of equality, social equality. And Nehru, I fully agree, because after Gandhiji's assassination, Nehru was responsible for even bringing Ambedkar to draft the constitution and the new social order. We must all understand when we think how this is. We want solutions, but for that we must understand the reality first. This is what my view. Solutions, then we can think. The reality is the India brought after the constitution is the same as was earlier, or when the British came? I don't agree to that at all. There were 500. Somewhere I said that 300 Nababs and Samstaniks, where somebody corrected me by saying 550.
600.
Yeah, maybe. So this type of, there was no concept of a common rule. Equality concept was not there. I study a lot about law. I have seen, we say that our civilization was progressive. I have never come across any judgment where evidence was recorded and decision is given, whereas 14th, 15th century also in UK and France, you will find such judgments, records are there, transcripts are there. I don't know what sort of justice delivery system was here. So all these things we must also know of the limitations. Now the theory is that the Muslims, they did some atrocities to it. Possible. I don't go into that debate because they were conquerors, and conquerors adopt these tactics. Conquerors, they want to subdue them. Why they attacked on women? That is because to subdue those.
Yeah.
This is used as a weapon to humiliate. Savarkar has openly advocated it. He said that Shivaji's story you must be knowing. Shivaji Maharaj, when he attacked his Kalyan Subedar and succeeded, then daughter-in-law of that Subedar was brought and offered to Shivaji as a present. So Shivaji gave her sari chodi, said that had my mother been so pretty, I would have been a handsome person too, and returned her to. So Savarkar says that was a mistake. To subdue them, that was a good opportunity, and he should have done that. So all these things we must know. I mean, nobody. So what I fully agree is that this was already there. Only these people, the present regime, sense that if we give this popular slogan, people will already be behind us, and they did that polarization complete. Now the problem is, I had no philosophical background, but while working as a judge, I found that from the agencies also, a lot of suspicion, unnecessary suspicion against these minority community people, and ultimately there is nothing. And then such an atmosphere is created that people are afraid of. Really, in fact, even I was doubtful. I was given up in the 1992 riots where I was a magistrate in Andheri court. So a bodyguard was given to me because I used to go to Varali and from that troubled area, some area was. So somebody poisoned some other magistrate, my colleague. Arey, he's a Muslim, your bodyguard, be careful and all that. So I asked the DCP, my foolishness, I asked, Baba, he is Muslim, there is no problem. He said, no, he will die, but he will not allow anything so that happened. Of course, I was ready, but 2-3 people told me that, Arey, bodyguard is Muslim and you are in danger. So this type of, we had our court staff, even for our household work also we get a few. So my wife used to ask to bring some banded medicines for my father, and so there is a chemist just by the side of our building. But he used to bring from some distant place. Now my wife just saw the bills and she asked, why do you go there? Here there is a chemist. No, but he's that topi. He's a Muslim, so he doesn't want to buy from them. So this is the reality. People avoid speaking this reality. Unless we speak of that, we give very good speeches that brotherhood is there, this, that won't do. Because we all, I have seen that we argue in circles. Means those who are of this view, they only listen, they only appreciate. How to go to the people who are misled? We can't go to the crooks who are deliberately doing that because it has become their business. It is their source of retaining the power or gaining the power. But those who are misled, I believe they are in a big majority. How to reach up to them? Because they will not come for any debate also. Now recently I heard, I was thinking of contacting Mr. Tushar Gandhi on that. What nonsense is said about Mahatma Gandhiji by some person. It has got no basis also. And see the type of thing. And being his, his descendants, you have a right to file defamation also. Which I was thinking of talking to him. I mean, whether to do that or not, that's a different matter. But in law, you are entitled to do that because the feelings are so much. And see, as the Rashtrapita we call him, and you say something which has got no basis. I had been listening to that. Unfortunately, many of my relatives, these Tikkar and Mungekar will know, I belong to a particular community where many people are in RSS. There are other liberal people also who are communists and all that. But today, more people are on that side. And therefore, I know what they think. They, they hated Gandhiji, they hate Nehru continuously. Gandhiji they killed because of that only. They openly said that also. They don't, because you are pro-Muslim. Now what happens if you say that injustice is done to Muslims, then the problem is that you are pro-Muslim. Then you are discredited. Then so many, I did not know when I was in the court that trolling and all that, somebody had written something. So I went to the chief, I said, you issue a notice for contempt. So he told me, brother, you ignore, they are writing about so many people, they are writing about me, they are writing. I said, but you issue a notice, I will write a letter to you. He said, no, I will not issue because about 20-21 judges, they are already writing, they are writing worse things than this, and why you are becoming so sensitive. So I have to keep quiet. Then the police officers told me that, sir, this is trolling, these people are paid. I did not know at that time. These people are paid and they are given a target that you troll this man, so they will keep writing. Then some innocent people also join because they don't know anything. You say something bad, then some people join also. But this is the way we are functioning. Even press also, I am shocked when they say sometimes that as if politics is a business and as if gaining power should be your ideal. And those who are able to do that by fooling people, they are clever and they are better, and the others should learn from them. I have heard this type of thing. See how BJP is making propaganda. Congress has to learn from that. I don't understand. Learn means what? If they are spreading some false rumors, do we also to spread some false rumors? Because you have to overcome that, they say. To beat them, you have to do this. Now, this type of society we are living in. And when with this backing of the in this, when it is state-sponsored this terrorism and state-sponsored aggressive nationalism, then we have to tackle it. Somebody said, I fully agree that it is not because of the present regime alone. We have to remove the bias from the minds of the people. There is no doubt about it. But these two are different things. In order to be able to remove that bias, you need freedom. And if you don't remove the regime, then there will be no freedom and you will not get any opportunity. I think this will be the last opportunity to keep the democracy intact. And then you can go for these reforms and remove. Because now if you don't do that, there will be no opportunity also to do that in future. Thank you. I think I have little exceeded my time.
Thank you for that extremely brilliant and very
May I ask a
comprehensive.
question, please? May I ask a question?
Not
on that
now.
one point.
No, not
One
now.
point.
Not now, because Dr. Inamdar has to leave for Pune.
Just that he said about the chemist, and your mother asked him why didn't he buy from the chemist?
My wife.
Did your wife? Did she correct him?
Yeah.
And
Of course,
she
of course.
told him-
She said that you must bring it from there only.
Ah,
Yeah,
that is
there
what
only.
one has to do.
Yes.
That is what one has
Thank
to
you.
do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I now introduce to you Nirmala ji. He has to go. He has to leave. Dr. Inamdar has come all the way from Pune. Thank you very, very much. So he will be speaking next. And Dr. Inamdar needs no introduction. I don't want to take his time. But he is the president of a globally, socially conscious center of excellence, the conservation, creation, advancement, dissemination of knowledge equipped to take up challenges of enormous change taking place around and committed to empower its faculty and its students, his university I'm talking about, to contribute meaningful economic, technological and social developments and progress. Dr. P.A. Inamdar was appointed by the Government of India on the Planning Commission Working Group on Higher Education in the 12-year plan to 2012-2017. He worked to improve the education of minorities, particularly in India, and he has to be congratulated because I have been to his campus and the amount of work and the kind of university. He's got his Lady Inamdar College and Azam Center and umpteen colleges that he is doing to promote education and to to broaden the prospect of Muslims in India. He worked to improve education of minorities in India, and his present position is that of the member of the National Council for the Promotion of Urdu Language in Delhi. He is a member of the Management Council, Hamdard University, New Delhi, a Government of India Trust member of Management Council of Aligarh Muslim University. He is a member of the Managing Committee of Education Trust. He is a member of the Court of Jamia Millia on the Senate. He is in the Central University of Delhi, ex-member of the Pharmacy of Council of India, Director of Visual Effects, Design and Art, Pune and Delhi, and umpteen other things. I don't want to take much of his time, but he's really a very distinguished person. And I thank him for coming all the way from Pune for this gathering of ours and for this round table. I look forward to hearing him. I give you Dr. Inamdar.
Let us try to understand what was situation prior to 1950 in India and what is the situation after 1950 now. We have to conclude there is a positivity. In prior to 1950, maybe because I am about 78, so I know my father and what was happening in those days. One pair of clothes in every community for 1 year. That was the situation. And what is today? Cupboards are full, but still we are poor. अब यहाँ पे जितने लोग बैठे हुए हैं वो अगर देखते हैं तो क्या होता था और आज क्या है, और फिर शाम को अगर जाते तो और 2 कपड़े लेकर ही आते और गरीबी बहुत है. So let us understand after 50 things have changed because constitution is enacted. Second thing I would like to mention it. Minority means things start changing because we have not understood who are the minorities. Each and every Indian is a minority. Each and every Indian is a minority. One is religious minority and another is a linguistic minority. Why religious minority? The family or persons coming from, say, north, Hindi belt. The moment he comes out of Hindi belt, he is a linguistic minority and has the same right as the religious minorities have. A Maharashtrian going to Karnataka, who is he? He is a linguistic minority. And Article 30 clearly says religious minority and linguistic minority, and they have same rights under Article 30. Because if we want to think in a systematic manner with reference to Constitution and act on the basis of that, come to my campus. 27,000 students in one campus. And results are 100%. Why? Because 99% of all our communities, they feel, suppose I am a Muslim, my job first is to appoint Muslim teachers only. Why we have started school? To teach students, not for appointing Muslims. And therefore, as far as I am concerned, because I studied through Marathi medium, Brahmins were the teachers, and I when speak Marathi, पुणेकर देखील माझ्या बरोबरचं मराठी बोलू शकत नाही. आणि मी उत्तम प्रकारे कशासाठी बोलतोय की 100 मार्काचं संस्कृत घेऊन मी SSC पास आहे. दुर्जनम प्रथमम वंदे सज्जनम तदनंतरम. This is how it is. So let us think positive. आणि वास्तवशी निगडीत असंही नाहीये की बाबा आपण वास्तवता सोडून आज सगळे पॉझिटिव्ह बोलत जाऊ. No, factually it is seen. Why BJP or RSS are not having positive attitude? The reason is very simple. When Constitution was being drafted by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, RSS people were in jail because of Mahatma Gandhi's murder. And they were therefore not part of the discussion in Constitution. That is one of the most important aspects. And therefore let us understand Constitution is in force or not today. If that is in force, let us discuss on the basis of that. And once we take this thinking and practice on it positively, then it will be positive thinking, positive practice, and therefore we can reduce this. In my campus, there are 32 institutions, 32 in one campus. Out of that 32 institutions, 29 institutions principal is not Muslim. It's a Muslim institution. Because we should think who is good to teach students. Not that first thinking it should be Muslim teacher, let us see subsequently whether he is properly teaching or not, so that let the students suffer. These are some of the things each of us should follow. It's not that only Muslim people think that there should be their own teachers. All other communities also think on the same basis. So let us change. Because of that, real education will go to each and every community students, and it will be positive thinking. Now, forget about all these things. 100% teachers of Urdu medium, Marathi medium, Hindi medium, Gujarati medium, they are teaching to their own sons English medium. 100%, because I am not making any statement without any proof. And as far as they teaching their own students, not their children, they will then talk about ABCD. Tell me today, let us understand, what has the value of today's SSC board syllabus in Maharashtra? 12th syllabus, what is the value? Same syllabus is going on for 25, 30 years. And therefore, about 10 years back, a 12th passing was a basic for admission to MBBS. MBBS. The NEET came about 6-7 years back. The NEET is now important. And then what is the strength of the SSC board or 12th boards? No, then 12th board. English 50% is required for medical admission. NEET, they require more marks. So if that is true, then why it is not changed? Therefore, we have to discuss positive things so that even students should be able to understand changed circumstances, technology. If you want to talk, it is automatically typing. And suppose you don't know how to talk, then what happens? If you don't have mobile today, आप और हम 10-15 दिन खाना नहीं खाए तो भी चलता, हम भी बोल रहा हूँ मैं। आधा घंटा नहीं 15 मिनट अगर मोबाइल नहीं रहे तो क्या होगा, पागल हो जाएंगे हम लोग। मेरे आप लोगों को रिक्वेस्ट है लेडीज के लिए, लेडीज का मतलब माँ है, आप नाना है, नानी है, जो भी है, उसकी वजह यह है, पहले सब स्कूलों के अंदर आप जाइए, 1ली से 10वीं तक के बच्चियों के और बच्चों के हाथ में मोबाइल नहीं रहना चाहिए, इसके ऊपर पेरेंट्स को बताइए। तो सारी जो चीजें जो चल रही हैं गलत बोलकर, उसके पीछे क्या है? जो चीजें उस उम्र में नहीं मालूम होनी चाहिए, सबसे ज्यादा भी वही चीजें उनको मालूम हो रही हैं, तो गलत काम तो नहीं करेंगे। हमने किया है हमारे कैंपस में, पेरेंट्स को बुलाया हमने, और 1ली से 10वीं तक के बच्चों को मोबाइल देने से, अगर मोबाइल लेकर आएंगे तो क्लास से निकाल दिए जाएंगे और कुछ दिनों के बाद में इवन स्कूल से निकाल दिए जाएंगे। किसके फेवर में है? उनके फैमिली के फेवर में है। और एक एज है 13-14 साल के बाद में, कुदरत का कानून है, वो होना ही है, और इसके लिए हम उसके बाद की बातें नहीं करेंगे। तो जिस एज के अंदर ये चीजें नहीं होनी चाहिए, तो उस हम लोगों को तरीके से उसके ऊपर काम करना चाहिए। पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव सब जगह रिलीजन आने के साथ में फिर सब लोग अपने अपने रिलीजन को प्यार करते ही हैं, उसका मतलब दूसरे रिलीजन को प्यार नहीं करो नहीं होता है। हर रिलीजन में ये कहा गया है कि यू शुड बी प्राउड अबाउट योर रिलीजन, बट डोंट सी टू इट दैट अदर रिलीजन्स आर अननेसेसरीली टेकन इनटू अदर वे। उनका भी रिस्पेक्ट करो। और ये चीजों के ऊपर हम जब काम करने लग जाएंगे, आप प्लीज आते हैं, आपको मैं दावत देता हूं, आपको मैं इनवाइट करता हूं, प्लीज आइए हमारे पास। 5 साल के बच्चे हैं, 5 साल के बच्चे मोबाइल बना रहे हैं। कौन है? झुग्गी झोपड़ी के बच्चे हैं। MSCIT जैसी एग्जामिनेशन, टाइपिंग की एग्जामिनेशन है महाराष्ट्र की, जो स्टेट सर्विसेज के लिए कंपलसरी है। Even if he is selected for state services, unless he produces that certificate, he cannot join. हम लोगों ने उनको, उनके 7 साल की उम्र के बच्चों, 7,500 बच्चों को मैंने उसके अंदर पास करवाया, गरीब बच्चे। हमारा ये कहना है कि गरीब लोगों को जब तक आप अच्छे तरीके से एजुकेशन नहीं देंगे, उनको बिगाड़ने का काम जातिवाद, प्रांतवाद, भाषावाद से हो सकता है। आके एक बार उनको बेहतरीन एजुकेशन आप देंगे, वो भी अपने तरीके से सोचने लग जाएंगे। और आज अंग्रेजी नहीं आता तो वो आर नोबडी। आज अगर आपको टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं आती तो यू आर नोबडी। सो वी हैव टू टेक केयर ऑफ दैट। मैं कम से कम 40,000 नहीं 40 लाख बच्चों को हर महीने के अंदर 30 दिन के लिए मैं उन बच्चों को बाहर से बुलाता हूँ, गरीब बच्चों को irrespective of all caste, creed, religion. और उनको मैं टेक्नोलॉजी की ट्रेनिंग दे रहा हूँ. ड्रोन बना रहे 5 साल के बच्चे, मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहे, ऐसा नहीं. उस एज के अंदर बच्चों को जो टैलेंट होता है, सिंसियरिटी होती है, वो सबसे ज्यादा होती है. तो अगर आप चाहते हैं तो प्लीज हमारे पास भेज दीजिए उनको, और हम उनको ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं 1 महीने की, रहना फ्री, खाना फ्री, ट्रेनिंग फ्री. उससे क्या हो रहा है, हमारे पास अमन आ रहा है. जो चीजें नहीं डिस्कस होनी चाहिए वो नहीं हो रही है, और जो चीजें मालूम नहीं है वो बेहतरीन फ्यूचर के लिए है, उन चीजों को हम लोग आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं. आज ब्लैक बोर्ड एंड चॉक से पढ़ा के आप दुनिया जीतने वाले हैं. ब्लैक बोर्ड एंड चॉक से उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. और ये चीजों को अगर हम लेते हैं पॉजिटिवली, हम सब लोग पावरफुल हैं, अपने अपने जगह वेल टू डू हैं, नॉलेजेबल हैं, इन्फ्लुएंशियल हैं. लेट अस गो ऑन दिस वे, एंड ऑटोमेटिकली क्या होगा, ये जो दूसरी चीजें हैं कम होती जाएंगी. अब मोदी साहब ने ऐसा किया, शाह साहब ने वैसा किया, इसके ऊपर चर्चा करने से क्या होने वाला है. हमारा ये कहना है वो चर्चा को बाजू में रखो. कोई भी गवर्नमेंट आती है तो अपने उनका एजेंडा होता है, वो एजेंडे के ऊपर वो कुछ कोशिश करती है, और उसके लिए उनको इलेक्ट करके दिया भी गया है. तो हमारे पास जो कुछ भी ये है सोर्सेस हैं, उससे कॉमन पीपल को हम क्या मदद कर सकते हैं, उनको आगे बढ़ाने का काम कैसा कर सकते हैं. मैं चाहता हूं ये तरीकेकार आज के बाद हम लोग सब मिलके, नॉलेज सबके पास है, लेकिन हम चाह रहे हैं कि नेगेटिविटी की कैसा हो रही, क्यों हो रही, क्यों कब तक होने वाली है, इसकी बातें कम करें. इंडिया के पास उतनी ताकत है, इंडिया के पास इतनी ताकत है, और इंडिया मैं लिख के देता हूं, हम लोग पॉजिटिविटी की बात करें तो दुनिया के ऊपर राज करे, गारंटेड करेगा. इसके बारे में मुझे पूरा भरोसा है, पूरा भरोसा है. माफ करना, मेरे को जाना है. मैं आप सब लोगों की माफी मांगता हूं, और आपको मैं बुलाता हूं, प्लीज आइए पुणे, यू विल बी हैप्पी टू सी. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much, Dr. Inanda sir, for coming all the way from Pune. Please, आप जाइए, इतना जल्दी मत जाइए. Please. Thank you so much for that very, I think that's a positive way to look at things, education, to be more optimistic in our point of view, and to, sorry, what's happening? Okay. So, that's fine. Now I invite Mr. Tushar Gandhi to, Nirmala ji to address us. She was the ex-mayor of Bombay. I'm not going to give very long introductions.
Please
to
don't
save-
give. Yeah.
To save time.
Yeah.
So, and she's done volumes of wonderful work. She's worked for women's rights. She's worked for, underprivileged people. I know she is now connected to Mrs. Supriya Sule, and I admire her because of the intellectual discourses to which she has been inviting me. So I give you Nirmala ji.
I won't take more than 5 to 7 minutes because I'll give you a background why I am here as a honorable guest. Basically, I wanted to be just a listener like you and a concerned citizen for the things which are happening in recent times. So I thought that it is a good opportunity given by Zenergy. Basically, Mr. Mushala was the person who was going to be in my place, but कभी कभी ऐसा होता है ना कि मेन हीरो कुछ छुट्टी पे जाता है तो थोड़ा साइड रोल हो जाता है. तो साइड रोल के लिए मुझे ये किया था, बट आई एम सो हैप्पी दिस इज नॉट अ साइड रोल, बट इट सडन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आ गई. जिनको कुछ एक्टिंग नहीं आती उसको एक्टिंग में डालो, तो इट वॉज लाइक दैट. सो सडन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी वॉज गिवन टू मी डे बिफोर yesterday, and when I saw the names like Mr. Mungekar and Mr. Kumar Ketkar and Mr. Tushar Gandhi and Abhay Tipsej, I thought, and of course Ram Punyani, there are so many people. I said, my God, I require lot of time, to study the topic which is so important and so glaring. I didn't know what to say, and therefore I told her keep me at the last. When I came and saw my name 4, I just sent her a message कि मुझे पीछे छोड़ो because इतने सारे surgical strike हो जाएंगे बेचारों के, तो इतना बड़ा surgical strike होगा, तो I had a secret peace pact with her on SMS. But when I thought that surgical strike 7 ही मिनट का है, तो मुझे लगा कि yes, I can take a responsibility and speak for 5-7 minutes. And that's why I sent her a message that I will go by the schedule. Anyway, it was very important, and it was a good learning experience, what my distinguished speakers said here. Because all who are here are value-oriented, distinguished people, not ordinary people, and concerned citizens. So that hearing their thoughts itself was a very important thing, and to repeat it is not very good. It will be killing the time. I have seen so many people who are known to me, and they have their own, what should I say, the impact in this society, and it is a real honor you have given me, Zeenaji. I am very thankful to that. Now you have spoken about a fostering of unity and solidarity, and for the harmonious coexistence and a partnership of religious dialogue itself is, nobody is going to challenge it. Of course it has to be there. And then celebrating unity in diversity and halting crimes against women. This subject is so important, and nobody is saying there is not going to be any debate over it, because we all who are here are concerned to support the subject. And therefore I was thinking, what should I say, because this is required and this is what is happening. And when I heard Kumarji talking and Munigekarji, of course, they also are distinguished speakers and say the same thing in a different context. As they are specialized with economic background, then Kumarji as a Patrakar, and Inamdar Sahab as an educationist, and Abhay Tipse, I remember I saw him 30-35 years back, such a shy boy. He wouldn't look at me or so. And now he spoke so well.
I had also.
I told me नव्हेच असं मला वाटलं तुमच्याकडे, but he was such a shy boy. Now he spoke so, and he made so much of progress in his life and became High Court judge. And there are many High Court judges, but the way he speaks nowadays, and so candidly he said that we share the same view, that even I am not an expert on this particular topic, though I speak on women and law and equality and justice and constitution. But to speak in present context requires a lot of thinking. But still I have taken this as a challenge nonetheless. So again, coming back, I will only concentrate on the focus on unity and diversity, and why in the present time it is under threat. I have also taken, like you, some talking point in writing, because I had very little time to do my homework. So as we all know that the origin of India, if you see the culture, which is the oldest civilization in the world, so we call it, it had so many geographical diversities, cultural diversities, religious diversities, language diversities. Still India, being the oldest civilization in the world, we have been ruled by many rulers. We have been invaded by many people, but still as of today, our democracy has survived. That shows that the wisdom of the people in India. We must give credit to that, there will be no threat to our democracy, provided we sustain to the present challenges which are in a different form of society, a form of different weapons which are being used. Now, feeling, when we say about a diversity, and when we say that unity in diversity is very important, which means that a feeling of oneness and a togetherness after lots of invasions and all that has remained. That means why it is important, because to keep that diversity, to keep that unity in the diversity, what is most important is peace. Peace is very, very important. Peace only brings economic progress, industrial progress, national development, and national communal integration and integrity. But when we see now, what are the obstacles? Why we are worried? Because there are forces on the other side. They create obstacles. What are the obstacles that we need to encounter? the best weapon, as somebody rightly said, कि वो तो उनका धंधा है. And dhanda means they literally destabilize the development which has happened for many years, and therefore we have to be little bit guarded about it. So what is the best weapon? The religious enmity. The religious enmity is the weapon which people use and create communal riots. Therefore, then what is that Hindu-Muslim riot? Then manipulation of the thing. Now, thereafter I'll come to another 2-3 things. What is happening in Manipur? Crime, you told me to speak about crime against women. Now, crime against women has been spoken by Mr. Mungekar, and he has given data how much violence is there against women. And this is not the end. I'm scared that this is going to be beginning, and we have to be very, very careful, because this is going to be manipulated and manufactured. It's not natural. Therefore, we have to be little careful about it. That Manipur crimes against women, rape, murders, lynching, then abduction, kidnapping, sexual abuse, molestation, and so that. So what we feel that somebody also said about the digitalization. I think Kumar just said something about it. That digitalization is a double weapon. Now Dr. Inamdar said that is a positive thing. That Ram ji, you are also saying, I agree with you, that when digitalization, we also can use digitalization to encounter what is happening. Therefore, we have to work together for that. The digitalization is creating such a rapid, anti-national, anti-communal peace and violence and sort of trolling and what should I say, creating hatred, hate speeches and all that. That is very dangerous. But at the same time, there is a need that a positive digitalization will come, and I think that is the need of the hour, that we have to curb all that. Now, somebody wrote a very nice article. Now, our Prime Minister spoke that day. And how many hours he spoke? You all must be knowing. 100 and how many minutes?
1 hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours.
16 minutes.
33 minutes.
He
And-
broke the record.
Yes, he broke the record.
He only spoke because he wanted to break
Exactly,
that
yeah. He also wanted to break that record. Right. Very right. And majority of it was just like an election speech. Only election ka propaganda speech. Not more than 2 minutes he spoke against the violence against Manipur. Not a single time he spoke about the communal divide. Not a single minute he spoke about the threat to democracy. He spoke on democracy. He spoke on demography. He spoke on unity and diversity. But in fact, he all the time is acted exactly against those 3 dimensions. That is what I wanted to make a point of it. So this is a cause of concern for all of us. So when we talk about India's world largest democracy, therefore today's topic, I said, is very, very important. I'll make only final 2-3 points. That Hindu nationalism is rising. The way our Honorable Prime Minister today, he is in where that BRICS convention is there in Africa. So we were talking how he is creating a different kind of an image and all that. There's a different ball game for him. So Hindu nationalism is rising abroad. And this is how people knowingly or unknowingly thinking that that's a good thing, but that's again a threat, because we have been seeing that when the religion comes, when any kind of a ism comes, what is happening in our neighboring countries is nothing but destruction and devastation.
Absolutely.
Therefore, all these isms are very, very dangerous, and this is what is the threat to the unity of our nation. It's a threat to the unity of the whole world. हम लोग सब movies वगैरह देखते हैं in Netflix and all that. You saw war, and in war, who dies? First, women and the children and the senior citizens. So this dehumanization and genocide and all that is nothing but the origin of war. And origin of war, they attract Hinduism, Islam is in danger, Hinduism in danger. So this growing Hindu nationalism is rising, and more rising in abroad, because Kumarji's speech is very, very, should I say, mind blowing on that those who were middle class, staying in one room kitchen, and they have been, brought to economic prosperity. Subatta Ali, now they are thinking of Hindu nationalism. The very country which gave them IIT and IIM education and all that, they have forgotten all that. Now they are speaking about Hindu nationalism, which I think is a failure of our education system, Inamdarji. I'm really worried for that. Education is good, but this kind of education which divides the country on any kind of a ism is threat to global unity and national unity. Then discrimination against religious minorities, you have spoken about it, and silencing the critics. Awaaz band karo. And silencing the critics in the name of misusing the pillars, in the name of pillars of democracy, misusing the authorities and the misusing ED and misusing all these regulating authorities just to curb the violence. अब हमारे साथ आओ तो you are good. You are absolutely Nirma washing powder. अगर सब है, अगर आप उनके जाओ तो आपसे गंदा कोई नहीं. This is threat to democracy. Toppling the governments in the name of, in the fabric of democracy, but actually misusing. They don't have strength. They don't have this one. खुले आम मैदान में आ जाओ, लड़ो नहीं. इसको यूज करो, उसको यूज करो, उसको जेल में डालो. This is a threat to democracy. This is threat to constitution. This is threat to unity of our nation. And therefore, I think the biggest threat to democracy, which is happening, one small data was there. Unfortunately, when we talk of corruption, why corruption is there? Majority of the people say कि corruption is very easy to do. मेरे को छोड़ के बाकी सब corrupt है. तो corruption becomes very easy coin. लेकिन you start becoming honest, automatically corruption will go. And corruption is only not of money, but corruption is of mind also. Absolutely, it's a corruption of mind. So therefore, what I feel that in India, ये corrupt है, corruption को रोको, demonetization करो, ये करो, just to terrorism को करो. In the name of curbing the corruption, it is just it's an eyewash. Therefore, I say that 61% corruption is there in India as per the data. Then poverty, 11%. Poverty, but I think I doubt about this. Then 14% terrorism and 14% communal violence. When we have this type of high percentage, that means that we need to do something about things about this kind of a situation. Somebody said that if we don't raise our voice now, it will be never. So it will be never. I think so. As people are thinking about rewriting of the constitution. It's the biggest danger. Why rewriting of constitution? Today there is an article in Lok Satta about that great friend. He's your friend, no? That way back there. Unfortunate friend. So tell him that these people are more dangerous. They're very, very dangerous. They know what wrong they are doing. Anyway, now I want to, I was very scared to talk among the distinguished people, but मैंने बहुत हिम्मत की है, तो बाद में मुझे हिम्मत का एक बुके दे देना. Thank
you very much for coming, and you've done a brilliant job as always. So yes. May I invite
Dr. Zeenat, we have landed on the moon, by the way.
We have? Congratulations. I was just about to say that Chandralaya, that is what we have to go towards. That is the line of thinking of the Wisdom Foundation. That is where we're headed.
And hosted our flag as well.
Have you done it safely?
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. Congratulations. Big hand to India. Big hand. Can we have some silence, please? Some silence, please. There have been some phones ringing, so please may I request you to kindly switch off all mobiles. Now we have Mr. Tushar Gandhi. He said that I should not give him these long introductions, but he is a leading figure in India today, someone we look up to, somebody all of us deeply admire. Okay, I won't say any more. I give you Tushar Gandhi.
Thank you, Zeenat. Sitting over here and listening to everybody talking, I have come to a conclusion that what is good is India is confined in this hall. Because it seems everybody other than us is responsible for what is happening in India today. I don't agree with that. I believe it is all of us who are the cause of what is happening in our country today. This nation and this people. Bapu built his freedom movement on the belief that Indians were non-violent by nature. And Indians proved him wrong from 1946 to 1948 when one of us murdered him. So that notion itself is wrong. In 1930, while on the Dandi Kuch, when he felt that his own people who were marching with him were going astray in their ethical practice of honesty, he gave a lecture on while the Dandi Kuch was approaching Surat. And it's very famously known as his call for turning the searchlight inwards, where he said that unless we look into our own souls and find our weaknesses and the faults that are creeping into us, we are bound to commit mistakes and create a monster from what we have set out to do. Today, if we have to save this India, I think the time has come when we have to turn the mirror inwards, the searchlight inwards, and be prepared to admit the rot that is within all of us. They have not invented hate. They are only utilizing and exploiting the hate that is there within us. And I don't say this frivolously. Hate is not just when you go and beat up somebody or kill somebody. We lynched an Indian because we suspected that the piece of meat in his refrigerator was beef. Did we agitate? Did we display our anger enough? Did we even utter a word? Last year, we celebrated an important anniversary of our independence. A 9-year-old boy, Dalit boy in Rajasthan, was killed because he drank water from a pot of water reserved for his upper caste teacher. How many of us decided that it was not right to celebrate Independence Day when even after so many years, so many decades, that kind of caste violence was happening in our country? 1 year later, an Adivasi boy was shown sitting while an upper caste man pissed on his face. And what was shocking was on social media, people were saying, "Hey, do you have that video?
Yeah.
I need to see it. Can you share it with me?" Why do we have to see that? When the women were paraded naked in Manipur, we wanted to see the video on WhatsApp. Voyeurism, but look at the moral rot within us. What right do we have to talk about all these glorious things that and all the vices and evil that Modi and co are practicing? Look at us. Which level have we plumbed to as a society? And how is it going to stop if we are not brave enough to admit our own faults? And what will it take for us to wake up and admit those faults? You know, it's very nice. Modi will go. I know he will go.
Great.
But what I am worried about is who will come in his place from within all of us. If we are at this nadir of our ethical selves, do we have the courage to do something about that? unless we do that, what good is all this? You know, even before Bapu, there was a Congress, and its influence did not go beyond these kind of elite halls where all the Congress leaders used to sit and talk intellectually. Remember one thing, while we sit over here and talk with each other and impress each other with our wisdom, the haters have reached every doorstep. They are in every household, their message is going through. While our message doesn't even go beyond the door of this hall. Worry about that. Please, let us break out of this shell that we have created for ourselves. I'll talk about, Kumar is sitting over here. The only sensible voice in politics for the past 8 years has been of Rahul Gandhi in this country. But Kumar, tell me honestly, is the Congress party standing behind Rahul as strongly and as forcefully as that man has the courage of speaking? We don't see that.
Good question.
We don't see that. And so, let us think about all these weaknesses that are being exploited by the political forces who have understood the dividends of hate and are using the currency of hate because they know that the returns are much beyond any even financial principles. And why is that happening? The day we find the answer to that and the day we have the courage to admit our own faults, we will make change. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah. I think, the inward understanding has to come. We have to look inward and we have to act when we need to act. We have to say the right things and do the morally right things to leave a good word behind us and to make a good word for our children. Thank you. I now invite Professor Dr. Ram Punyani. So, first of all, I want to say that he is a very honored and member of my Wisdom Foundation from the day it was founded, and we love you, Ram. Thank you for being with us now and always.
Introductions ends here.
So yeah, he did it.
Yeah,
I have
I
got
think,
a lot, so I give you Ram Punyani.
Yeah. Friends, first of all, my question is Hindi okay?
Yes.
Or should I continue in the same stream of English? चलेगा हिंदी चलेगा अच्छा तो मैं थोड़ा चेंज के लिए हिंदी में बोलता हूँ और मेरे पहले बहुत अच्छे वक्तव्य आ चुके हैं मुझे वो दोहराने की जरूरत नहीं है और खास तौर से आखिर में तुषार ने जो सवाल उठाए हैं उनका मैं जवाब देने की कोशिश करूँगा और प्लीज बेयर विथ मी मैं इसको 3 भाग में रखूंगा पावर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन तरीका एक कि भारत में ये जो आज सांप्रदायिकता है डायरेक्टली कहें सांप्रदायिकता बाकी सवाल सब हैं एजुकेशन का सवाल है इकोनॉमिक्स का सवाल है वायलेंस अगेंस्ट वीमेन का सवाल है सामाजिक गरीबी बढ़ती हुई बेकारी फार्मर सवाल सब सवाल हैं पर मैं एक ही सवाल के बारे में बात करूंगा स्लाइटली आई एम बीइंग नैरो माइंडेड और ये सांप्रदायिकता का सवाल जो है ये वास्तव में 19वीं शताब्दी के एंड से शुरू होता है ये 2014 के बाद की बात नहीं है तो इसमें पहले बता दूं कि भारत में पहले जो राजा नवाब जमींदार जागीरदार थे अंग्रेजों के आने के बाद एक चीज अच्छी हुई बुरा हुआ उन्होंने हमारा लूटा वगैरह वगैरह और ये भी बता दूं कि हमारी वास्तविक गुलामी अंग्रेजों के आने के बाद चालू होती है इसमें थोड़ा मैं आपको सवाल भी पूछ सकता हूँ अगर इफ यू डोंट माइंड ये हमको आजादी कब मिली थी 2014 थैंक यू वेरी मच आपने मुझे क्लियर कर दिया मैं थोड़ा कंफ्यूज हूँ तो मैं ये क्लियर करना चाहता हूँ कि वास्तव में हमारी गुलामी मुसलमान राजाओं के साथ नहीं हुई हमारी गुलामी जो चालू होती है अंग्रेजों के आने के बाद चालू होती है गुलामी के 2 साइन होते हैं एक यहाँ की संपत्ति को लूट कर बाहर ले जाते हैं दूसरा यहाँ के राज्य का निर्देशन बाहर से होता है अकबर बाबर औरंगजेब के समय यही थे लोग यही रहते थे दूसरा देखिए कि जो हमारा लूट हुआ था मुख्य रूप से अंग्रेजों के समय हुआ था औरंगजेब जिसको सबसे ज्यादा नफरत की जाती है उस समय भारत का जो कंट्रीब्यूशन था दुनिया के प्रोडक्शन में था 23 या 24%, और अंग्रेजों के जाने के बाद ये गिरकर 4% हो गया। ठीक है, अब यहाँ हमें गुलाम बनाया, उसके साथ साथ कुछ कुछ अच्छी चीजें भी हुई जिसके साथ सामाजिक परिवर्तन हुए। तो अंग्रेजों को यहाँ से संपत्ति लूट के ले जाना था, राज करना था, राज का इंस्ट्रक्शन विदेशों से आता था। तो यहाँ उन्होंने 3 प्रकार के मुख्य परिवर्तन लाए: ट्रांसपोर्ट, रेलवेज, टेलीफोन, टेलीग्राफ, पोस्टल सिस्टम, आधुनिक शिक्षा, आधुनिक न्याय व्यवस्था और आधुनिक उससे जुड़ी हुई चीजें। इसके साथ समाज में 5 नई चीजें होती हैं। ये मैं इसलिए बताना चाहता हूँ कि मैं थोड़ा गहराई से, क्योंकि मीटिंग में अंत में जो मैं प्रस्ताव देने वाला हूँ वो थोड़ा सा गहरा रहने वाला है और उसकी मैं जड़ों पर जाना चाहता हूँ। तो 5 परिवर्तन जो होते हैं वो है, एक तो यहाँ इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन का होना, दूसरा यहाँ ट्रांसपोर्ट कम्युनिकेशन का होना, तीसरा आधुनिक शिक्षा, आधुनिक न्याय व्यवस्था। इससे 5 परिवर्तन आते हैं, 5 नए परिवर्तन आते हैं। एक, व्यापारी उद्योगपति वर्ग का आना, टाटा, बिरला, बजाज, सिंघानिया, डालमिया। दूसरा, फैक्ट्रियों के कारण मजदूर वर्ग का आना। तीसरा, आधुनिक शिक्षित वर्ग का आना। और इसी के साथ शिक्षा का दलितों में और स्त्रियों में ले जाया जाना। भूलिए मत, आज हम स्त्रियों के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, पर सबसे पहले स्त्रियों के बारे में शिक्षा सावित्रीबाई फुले, दलितों के बारे में शिक्षा ज्योतिराव फुले। तो ये 5 परिवर्तन हैं जिसने आधुनिक भारत की नींव रखी। और इसी में से 3 वो मुख्य प्रवाह निकले जो भारतीय राष्ट्रवाद का प्रतिनिधित्व करते हैं। और ये 3 प्रवाह में मैं पहले रखता हूँ शहीद आजम भगत सिंह, सरीखे लोग जिन्होंने लिबर्टी के कंसेप्ट को बहुत मजबूती से रखा। दूसरे, भीमराव बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर, पेरियार, फुले वगैरह वगैरह जिन्होंने समता को केंद्र में रखा। और तीसरे, मौलाना अबुल कलाम आजाद, एनी बेसेंट, सरदार बलदेव सिंह, मोहनदास करमचंद गांधी जिन्होंने फ्रेटर्निटी को सामने रखा, राष्ट्रीय आंदोलन का नेतृत्व किया। आई होप हिंदी इज गोइंग ऑल राइट? ठीक है। अब तो ये 3 प्रवाह को देखिए, इनके नाम के पैटर्न को देखिए। हिंदुस्तान सोशलिस्ट रिपब्लिकन एसोसिएशन, रिपब्लिकन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया, भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस, ये इनको मैं उभरते हुए वर्ग कहता हूं जिनसे भारतीय राष्ट्रवाद आया। अब यहाँ जो बात कर रहे थे 558 राजा, नवाब, जमींदार, जागीरदार, वो क्या करेंगे? वो घर में जाके सो जाएंगे। उनको डर लगा कि दलितों में शिक्षा आ रही है, औरतों में शिक्षा आ रही है, मजदूर वर्ग बन रहा है, औद्योगिक वर्ग बन रहा है, हमारे अधिकार तो दैवी है, वी हैव डिवाइन राइट टू रूल। अब क्या हो रहा है? अब तो यहाँ से एक नई प्रकार की व्यवस्था आ रही है। तो दोनों प्रकार के वर्गों से नए संगठन बने। इधर से मैंने बताया नौजवान भारत सभा, रिपब्लिकन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया, भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस। राजा, नवाब, जमींदार, जागीरदारों में से 3 संगठन बने। और ये संगठनों में ख्याल कीजिए प्लीज, शुरू में केवल राजा थे, नवाब थे, जमींदार थे, जागीरदार थे। बाद में चलकर कुछ शिक्षित वर्ग, एजुकेटेड लोग उनके साथ जुड़ गए, सवर्ण संभ्रांत लोग जुड़ गए। और उनके नाम के पैटर्न को ख्याल कीजिए। मुझे ये मत बोलिए नाम में क्या रखा है, विलियम शेक्सपियर कहता है नाम में क्या रखा है। नाम में है। तो ये 3 वर्गों के नाम मैंने इधर से बोले, इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस, रिपब्लिकन पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया, नौजवान भारत सभा। अब इधर से जो संगठन बने उनमें से ख्याल कीजिए, उनके नाम को ख्याल कीजिए। पहले व्यक्ति का नाम है मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना, पार्टी का नाम मुस्लिम। दूसरे व्यक्ति का नाम आप सब जानते हैं, अपने महाराष्ट्र में तो अपन की बहुत इज्जत भी करते हैं, इज्जत मतलब वो करना पड़ता है, वो जो माफी मांग के आए थे जेल से, वो उन्होंने कौन सी पार्टी ज्वाइन की? हिंदू महासभा। यही नाम, यही ख्याल, रुक जाइए। मुस्लिम लीग, हिंदू महासभा। मुस्लिम लीग ने मुस्लिम राष्ट्रवाद की बात की, हिंदू महासभा ने हिंदू राष्ट्रवाद की बात की। और इसी हिंदू राष्ट्रवाद को लेकर एक बहुत बड़ा संगठन बना जिसकी मजाक उड़ाना आसान है, जिसकी आलोचना करना आसान है, पर जिसका मुकाबला करना बहुत मुश्किल है। पहचान लेंगे आप, पहले ये हाफ पैंट पहनते थे, आजकल फुल पैंट पहन गए। राष्ट्रीय स्वयं सेवक संघ, हिंदू राष्ट्र। ठीक है, मुस्लिम राष्ट्र, हिंदू राष्ट्र के आरएसएस। इधर देखिए, इधर के नामों में धर्म का नाम नहीं है और इन्होंने आधुनिक भारत बनाया। पार्ट 1 संविधान के डिटेल में मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, इन्हीं के मूल्यों में से संविधान आया। उसमें आरएसएस के लोगों ने भाग क्यों नहीं लिया वो तो अलग बात है। वैसे उनको ये संविधान की कल्पना पसंद नहीं थी, क्योंकि उनके लिए तो ऑलरेडी संविधान था, मनुस्मृति ऑलरेडी था, तो संविधान की जरूरत क्या है? वो तो पूरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली को यूजलेस मानते थे। तो उसके आरएसएस को छोड़ दीजिए। तब पार्ट 2 चालू होता है आजादी के बाद। मैं कोई समाजशास्त्री तो हूं नहीं, पर मैंने एक छोटा शब्द सोचा जो पॉपुलर नहीं हुआ है, वो है अंबेडकर नेहरू क्रांति। क्या मतलब है मेरा इससे? मेरा इसका मतलब है एक तरफ से भारतीय संविधान जो स्वतंत्रता, समता, बंधुता, न्याय के मूल्य देता है, और दूसरी तरफ नेहरू की वे नीतियां जिनके कारण आधुनिक उद्योग, आधुनिक शिक्षा, आधुनिक चीजों की नींव बनी। और उसके लिए मैं जवाहरलाल नेहरू का 1956 का एक स्पीच जब उन्होंने भाखड़ा नंगर बांध को उद्घाटन करते समय दिया था, वो याद करना बहुत जरूरी है। वो क्या था? बांध का उद्घाटन करते समय उन्होंने कहा, ये जो हमारे बांध हैं, और ब्रैकेट में मैं डाल रहा हूं, बांध, यूनिवर्सिटी, साइंटिफिक एस्टेब्लिशमेंट्स, मून पे आप लैंड हुए, इसरो, CSIR, IIT, ये आधुनिक भारत के नए पूजा के स्थान है। इस क्रांति ने किया क्या? अंबेडकर नेहरू क्रांति ने किया क्या? दलितों को समाज में ऊपर लाए, स्त्रियों का समाज में प्रवेश हुआ, और समाज का जो बेहतरी हुई, आर्थिक इंडाइसिस तो मेरे सामने बैठे हैं, एक्सपर्ट बैठे हैं, उस पर मैं नहीं कहूंगा, एक शुरुआत हो गई कि जिसमें सब लोगों की बातों का ख्याल रखने की बात चली। अब ये बात चलती रही 1980 के दशक तक, जहां कुमार जी ने बात शुरू की। 1980 का दशक एक परिवर्तन का दशक रहा। उसमें हमारे वो आए, क्या नाम इनका, रथ यात्री, बहुत धन्यवाद, उनकी पार्टी ने तो उनको बुला दिया, आपने उनको याद रखा। आडवाणी ने बोला, ये क्या बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे ये मंदिर हैं, ये IITs हैं, BRC है, ये हमारे आधुनिक भारत के मंदिर है? अरे नहीं, हमारे मंदिर तो मस्जिदों के नीचे है। ठीक है, तो मस्जिदों को तोड़ो, मंदिर को बनाओ। राजनीति की दिशा बदल गई। और यहाँ मैं स्पष्ट रूप से कहूंगा कि आज जो हमारी सामाजिक चेतना, जिसके बारे में हम सब बड़े परेशान हैं, हमारे घर के व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में क्या आता है, चारों तरफ क्या चलता है, सामान्य सामाजिक सोच ये अपने आप नहीं बनता, इसको बनाया जाता है। नोम चॉम्स्की की कंसेप्ट है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंसेंट। राज्य सत्ता अपने विभूतियों के लिए सहमति का निर्माण करती है। उसी प्रकार से आरएसएस ने एक काम किया। क्या काम किया? शाखाएं चलाई, उसमें एक मॉड्यूल दिया, और वो मॉड्यूल अनकंटेस्टेड चल रहा है। मॉड्यूल बहुत सरल है। इधर हमारे गांधी जी ने अपने आंदोलन के माध्यम से लोगों को शिक्षित किया। आरएसएस ने बोला, भाई ठीक है, तुम जो करना करो, हम तो लड़कों 5 से 15 साल के लड़कों को लाएंगे, उनके दिमाग में डालेंगे हम अनादिकाल से हिंदू राष्ट्र हैं। एक्सीलेंट। अब अनादिकाल में मैं अपने जाता हूँ, अनादिकाल में हमारे पूर्वज भी आते हैं, वो जिसके कारण डार्विन की थ्योरी को हटा दिया गया। खैर उस पर मैं नहीं जाता। अनादिकाल से हिंदू राष्ट्र है, और ये मुसलमान और क्रिश्चियन विदेशी हैं। अब मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, क्या धर्मों की राष्ट्रीयता होती है? Does religion have nationality? Not at all. It is people who have nationality. और nationality जो हम डिसाइड होती है हमारे संविधान से होती है, हमारी कल्पना से और DNA से नहीं होती। क्योंकि आजकल खुश रखने के लिए और बोलते हैं, अरे मुसलमान हिंदू हमारा तो एक ही DNA है। तो DNA तो एक ही, तो हमारा साउथ अफ्रीकन से भी मिलता है। उनको बता दीजिएगा कभी आपको मिलेंगे तो, ठीक है। तो ये उन्होंने चालू किया कि मुसलमान और क्रिश्चियन विदेशी हैं। फिर सावरकर ने उसको एक अलग तरीके से रखा, उस पर मैं नहीं जाता। पर जो बात सबसे ज्यादा लोगों को चुभी वो ये थी कि मुसलमान लोगों ने आक्रमण किया, मंदिर तोड़े, जबरदस्ती से धर्म को लागू किया। यहाँ मैं अपने दोस्तों को बताना चाहता हूँ कि उस समय पे एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पे आक्रमण करना कोई इलीगल नहीं था, यूनाइटेड नेशंस नहीं था। भारत के चोला राजा श्रीलंका पे जाके राज्य करते थे, हमको अच्छा लगता है, अरे वाह क्या बहादुर राजा है। पर वो बाबर उधर से आता है, और बाबर आता भी क्यों है? बाबर को बुलाता है राणा सांगा। हेलो, राणा सांगा बोलता है, हेलो आप आइए, हम दोनों पार्टनरशिप में इब्राहिम लोदी को हराएंगे। उसको हम एक विदेशी आक्रांता कहते हैं। ये आक्रांता कहना अपने आप में, इस प्रकार के इतिहास की समझ को कहना गलत है। इतिहास को वास्तव में देखना चाहिए। राजाशाही, और राजाशाही में आप देख लीजिए, अभी औरंगजेब का मामला महाराष्ट्र में उठा था। औरंगजेब बनाम शिवाजी। अब औरंगजेब की तरफ से जो शिवाजी से लड़ने आए थे, उनका नाम किसी को पता है? उनका नाम था राजा जय सिंह। और शिवाजी महाराज के जो सेनापति थे उनके नाम आपको पता है? इब्राहिम लोधी, सिद्दी संबल, दौलत खान वगैरह वगैरह। शिवाजी महाराज के प्रमुख सचिव का नाम आपको पता है? मौलाना हैदर अली। राजाशाही धर्म के आधार पे नहीं चलती थी। उस समय जो सत्ता थी उसके लिए हमारे मराठी में बहुत सुंदर वर्ड है, शेठजी भटजी। शेठजी जो एक आर्थिक रूप से किसानों का शोषण करता है, और भटजी जो सैद्धांतिक तौर पे उसको इस गुलामी में बांधे रहने के लिए चलता है। तो राजाशाही हिंदू मुसलमान के आधार पर नहीं थी। अकबर और बाबर, अकबर और राणा, ये राणा प्रताप की लड़ाई में हर जगह बताता हूँ क्यों। अकबर और राणा प्रताप की लड़ाई हुई, उसको लोग हिंदू मुसलमान की लड़ाई समझते हैं। अरे अकबर उस लड़ाई में था ही नहीं। अकबर के बदले जो गया था उसका नाम था राजा मान सिंह, और राणा प्रताप की तरफ से जो थे वो थे, एक थे उनके सेनापति राम सिंह और दूसरे हकीम खान सू। तो आरएसएस ने ये इतिहास लाया भी कैसे गया? ये इतिहास लाया गया अंग्रेजों द्वारा। क्यों लाया गया? 1857 बहादुर शाह जफर, मंगल पांडे, हिंदू मुसलमान मिलकर लड़े। अंग्रेजों ने बोला यहाँ लड़, अगर हमको राज करना है फूट डालो और राज करो की नीति। तो इतिहास को उन्होंने धर्म के चश्मे से प्रस्तुत किया। इतिहास में ये नहीं बताया दलितों का क्या हाल था, स्त्रियों पे क्या अत्याचार होता था, व्यापारी लोग कैसे काम करते थे, दस्तकार कैसे काम करते, वो इतिहास नहीं है। वो इतिहास लेखन वाले हमारे इरफान हबीब, रोमिला थॉपर आज के बड़े विलेन हो गए हैं, क्योंकि उन्होंने इतिहास के आम लोगों को लिखा। और ये जो हिंदू मुसलमान के आधार पे शाखाओं में इतिहास गया, वो पिछले 95 साल से चल रहा है। अभी हम कहेंगे कि हम 1 मिनट में इसको न्यूट्रलाइज करेंगे, इम्पॉसिबल। अब इसके आधार पे जो आगे चीज चली, तीसरी बात जो मैं कहना चाहता हूँ, 1990 के बाद से जो अंबेडकर नेहरू इश्यूज एक प्रकार के हैं जो लोगों के जीवन से जुड़े हैं, वैज्ञानिक सोच से जुड़े हैं। वैज्ञानिक सोच भी अभी आप मून पे लैंड हो रहे हैं, पर हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर तो उनको अभी भी सिखा रहे हैं। रहा होगा प्राचीन भारत में कोई प्लास्टिक सर्जन जिसने मनुष्य के सिर पे हाथी का सिर लगाया, एक्सीलेंट, इधर से हम मून पे जा रहे हैं और उधर से वो हमारा वैज्ञानिक सोच उधर जा रहा है। तो ये जो पूरी चीजें आज चल रही हैं 1990 के बाद से, उसमें एक तरफ तो निश्चित रूप से आरएसएस की शाखाओं का हाथ है, जिसकी संख्या आज लाखों में होगी। हजारों प्रचारक, लाखों स्वयंसेवक ये काम लगातार काम कर रहे हैं। और जैसे और हम यहाँ, जैसे तुषार ने बहुत अच्छे से बताया कि हम यहाँ मीटिंग में बैठे हैं, हम क्या करें। तो जो मैं मुख्य बात पे ख्याल करना चाहता हूँ कि बहुत सारी समस्याएं हैं। सबसे बड़ी समस्या जो है वो है नफरत की, एक। नंबर 2, धर्म के नाम की राजनीति जहां भी आती है वो उस देश को बर्बाद कर देती है। और उसका सबसे अच्छा उदाहरण पाकिस्तान, अच्छा या खराब उदाहरण पाकिस्तान। पाकिस्तान ने शुरू से इस्लाम के नाम पे राज्य किया, इस्लाम के आधार पे नहीं, इस्लाम के नाम पे राज्य किया, और आज उसका हाल देख रहे हैं आप। कभी सरकार स्टेबल नहीं है, चीजों की कमी है वगैरह वगैरह। और मुझे शौक कब लगा, लास्ट ईयर जब श्रीलंका में उठा हुआ, आटा नहीं मिल रहा, तेल नहीं मिल रहा, पेट्रोल नहीं मिल रहा, नौकरियां नहीं है, लोग उठ के राष्ट्रपति बन गए। मैंने अध्ययन किया, फॉर्चुनेटली मेरी एक दोस्त है, उसका बहुत अच्छा आर्टिकल आया था, वो श्रीलंका है। उसने बताया श्रीलंका में 1948 से ही सिंहला बुद्धिज्म के नाम पे राजनीति चल रही है। ख्याल कीजिए, पाकिस्तान में इस्लाम के नाम पे, श्रीलंका में, म्यांमार में बुद्ध धर्म के नाम पे, और भारत में 1992 के बाद से ये राजनीति ज्यादा मजबूत हो गई। तब पाकिस्तान की एक कवि फहमीदा रियाज दिल्ली में रहती थी, बाबरी मस्जिद तोड़ी गई तो उसने बहुत अच्छी कविता लिखी। क्या लिखा? अरे भाई तुम भी हम जैसे निकले। क्योंकि पाकिस्तान में पहले आम लोगों में इंडिया के लिए बहुत ऊंची नजर से देखा जाता था। अरे इंडिया क्या तरक्की कर रहा है, क्या इकोनॉमिस्ट है, क्या साइंटिस्ट हैं, क्या साइंटिफिक मैन पावर। अरे पर ये भी वही जाहिल निकले जो मस्जिदों को तोड़ के इस प्रकार का काम करे। तो 2 प्रकार के मुद्दे होते हैं दोस्तों। अंत में सोल्यूशन पे आने के पहले, जो मेरा छोटा सा है उसके बताने के पहले, 2 प्रकार के मुद्दे होते हैं। एक मंदिर, गाय, लव जिहाद, और आपने वो देखा होगा जिहाद के तो 50 टेबल निकले ना, कुछ भी चीज हो गई, लैंड जिहाद, ये जिहाद, वो जिहाद। पर एक मैं आपको थोड़ा मजेदार, एनीथिंग इज ए जिहाद, ठीक है। अब एक ही से बता दूं, ये जो गाय के बारे में जो कहा गया लिंचिंग, तो वास्तव में इनको न धर्म से कोई लेना देना है, न इन मुद्दों से लेना देना है, न मंदिर से लेना देना है। वो मुझे कैसे पता चला, वैसे तो मुझे समझ थी, अपने अच्छे दोस्तों को पढ़ते रहता हूँ, पर मुझे खास तौर से तब पता चला जब मैं किताब पढ़ रहा था। वो अपने वो प्रधानमंत्री थे ना, कविताएं लिखने वाले, उनकी किताब पढ़ रहा था, उनकी बायोग्राफी पढ़ रहा था। हार नहीं मानूंगा, पेज 236 पे आया, तो लिखा था अटल जी एक बार अमेरिका गए, अमेरिका में भाषण दिया, भाषण देने के बाद खाने का आनंद ले रहे थे, तो उनके पड़ोस में जो दोस्त बैठा था उन्होंने कंधे पे थपथपाया, वो बोला अटल जी आप जो खा रहे हो ये तो बीफ है। अटल जी हंस दिए, बीफ है तो क्या बोले, ये इंडियन गाय का थोड़ी है, तो अमेरिकन गाय का। तो इनके मुद्दे केवल समाज में भावनाओं के आधार पर लोगों को बांटने के लिए किए जाते हैं। और एक बात और भी बता दो, जहां भी धर्म के नाम की राजनीति चलती है वहां स्त्रियों पर अत्याचार बढ़ जाता है। पैट्रियार्की और ये कम्युनलिज्म ये साथ में चलते हैं। उसके लिए एक एक्सरसाइज आपको दे देता हूँ, मेरी प्रोफेसर जाती नहीं है इसलिए एक एक्सरसाइज दे देता हूँ। ये अपने जो हाफ पैंट वालों का क्या नाम है, राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक, पुल्लिंग है कि स्त्रीलिंग है, मैस्कुलिन है कि फेमिनिन है, मैस्कुलिन, तो उसमें स्त्रियों की तो जगह है नहीं, तो स्त्रियों से सेवा तो करवाना है, तो उसका नाम है राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ और इनका नाम है राष्ट्र सेविका समिति। स्वयं शब्द गायब है, हर एक पुरुष प्रधान विचारधारा के अनुसार स्त्री का स्वयं पुरुष की जेब में माना जाता है। एनीवे, तो तालिबान अलग प्रकार से स्त्रियों पर अत्याचार करता है और मणिपुर में जो अत्याचार चल रहा है उसका आप निश्चय करेंगे, उसमें एथनिसिटी भी है, एंटी क्रिश्चियन वायलेंस भी है, जमीन का मुद्दा भी है, ठीक है। तब करें क्या, विश्लेषण तो और भी मैं कर सकता हूं, मैं नहीं जाऊंगा, करें क्या। आज आखिर में वही तुषार की बात जरूरी है, क्या हम ये सेमिनार हॉल में बैठे रहेंगे? एक संगठन ऐसा है जो रोज कम्युनिटी के बीच में जाके इस प्रकार के नफरत के बीज बोता है। हम क्या कर रहे हैं? हमारे विचार बहुत अच्छे हैं, हमारे स्कॉलर्स बहुत अच्छे हैं, पर ये विचार लोगों तक पहुंच नहीं रहे। और ये विचार हमारे कैसे पहुंचे, तो मैं 3 स्टेज में सोचता हूँ आज की परिस्थिति। पहले सबसे पहले शॉर्ट टर्म, इमीडिएट, विच इज एब्सोल्युटली मस्ट, और वो एब्सोल्यूट मस्ट ये है, वो थोड़ा पॉलिटिकल है, मैं तो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी से हूं नहीं, फिर भी मैं कहूंगा कि इंडिया मस्ट विन। इंडिया के जीते बगैर आगे का रास्ता नहीं। नंबर 2, जैसे ये इस प्रकार के अथॉरिटेरियन रेजिम आते हैं जो लोकतंत्र को कमजोर करते हैं, सामाजिक आंदोलन भी कमजोर होते हैं। मेरी मान्यता है सामाजिक आंदोलन के कारण ही लोकतंत्र जिंदा रहता है। इट इज ओनली थ्रू सोशल मूवमेंट दैट डेमोक्रेसी कैन सर्वाइव। और आज हमारे यहाँ जो एक बता दूं, आज भी सेक्युलरिज्म में विश्वास करने वाले लोग ज्यादा हैं। प्रॉब्लम कहाँ है? प्रॉब्लम है हम बिखरे हुए हैं। जब वो सांप्रदायिक ताकतें इस प्रकार से हैं, नागपुर से एक डिक्टेट आता है, ऊपर से नीचे सब ठीक ठाक हो जाते जी। एक चालक अनुवर्तिता, मैं एक चालक अनुवर्तिता के पक्ष में नहीं हूं, पर जिस प्रकार का फ्रेगमेंटेशन हमारे सोशल मूवमेंट में है उसके कारण उसका जो ताकत है, इफेक्टिविटी है, असर है, वो कम हो जाता है। उसमें अंग्रेजी में एक कहावत है, वी मस्ट मार्च सेपरेटली बट स्ट्राइक टुगेदर। अपना अपना काम करो पर एक मुद्दे पर आप अड़के रहो। डेमोक्रेसी पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं होगा, मणिपुर पे कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं हो गया, अल्पसंख्यकों के खिलाफ अत्याचार नहीं चलेगा, लिंचिंग, लव जिहाद के नाम पे जो आप करते हैं वो नहीं चलेगा। पर ऐसा कहने से अभी नहीं होगा, अभी पानी सिर के ऊपर चला गया। अभी मुझे लगता है हमारे जो भी संगठन हैं, वो ट्रेड यूनियन हो, महिला अधिकारों वाले का ये हो, बच्चों के अधिकार के लिए काम करने वाले हों, सांप्रदायिक एकता वाले काम, हम सब के ऑफिस में एक कार्यक्रम करने की जरूरत है। ये मेरा सुझाव है। वो कार्यक्रम है महीने में एक बार या 15 दिन में एक बार लोगों के साथ संवाद। और संवाद का मीडियम क्या होगा? क्योंकि पहले नुक्कड़ नाटक जैसा एक बहुत महान सांस्कृतिक जन आंदोलन चलता था, अभी मुझे पता नहीं कितना है। नुक्कड़ नाटक कर सके तो फैंटास्टिक, नहीं तो उसका सेकंड ये है कि आज हमारे पास इतनी सारी चीजें हैं, उपलब्ध हैं। निराशा की बात मैं नहीं कर रहा, मैं आशा बताता हूं आपको। हमारे पास कितना मटीरियल है। आनंद पटवर्धन का नाम हर मीटिंग में मैं लेता हूं। उनकी फिल्में, एक एक फिल्म देखकर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होता है। कितनों को पता है कि उनके 15 एपिसोड की एक सीरीज है विवेक या रीजन, कितनों ने देखी है? अपने आप से पूछिए। तुषार का यही सवाल है, हम अपने आप से पूछें क्या हम इन चीजों को, फिर अभी बहुत सारे अच्छे, अभी हम कंप्लेन करेंगे गोदी मीडिया की, क्या कर सकते हैं आप अंबानी अडानी के बराबरी में नहीं जा सकते। अपना मीडिया मजबूत करना पड़ेगा। और मुझे इस बात की खुशी है, थोड़ी सी खुशी है कि बहुत सारे ऐसे YouTube चैनल्स हैं जो सकारात्मक चीजों को अच्छे तरीके से समाज पे ले जाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। मैं उसकी लिस्ट जीनत जी को भेज दूंगा, आप सबको भेजिएगा। और ये इसके माध्यम से हमारे पास जो YouTube का एक खजाना है, सॉरी खुद का भी थोड़ा बोल दूं, मैंने ऐसे 15-15 एपिसोड बनाए हैं इंग्लिश और हिंदी में जो पूरे सिलेबस को कवर करते हैं। क्यों ना हम इनके आधार पे कम्युनिटी में बात करें, काम करें। हम क्रिटिसाइज तो कर सकते हैं कि हमारे फैमिली ग्रुप में, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में सब नेगेटिव चीजें आती है, नफरत फैलाती है। अरे मोहब्बत का काम फैलाने का हम कहाँ कर रहे हैं? तो आज हमारे सामने चुनौती ये है कि एक तो राजनीतिक धरातल पर इंडिया मस्ट विन, सोशल धरातल पर सोशल मूवमेंट्स हैव टू कम टुगेदर, और तीसरा एक कम्युनिटी अवेयरनेस के लिए वी ऑल हैव टू वर्क टुगेदर, कम टुगेदर, दैट इज द ओनली वे आउट। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Request Saroj now to please present. Mr. Saroj, yes, Mr. Saroj Bana is the executive editor of Business India. I'm not going to take too much time in his introduction. He's just superb. You just have to hear him. Okay, I give you Saroj Bana.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Please switch off your mobiles if anyone has them on. Please, they're very disturbing. Thank you.
I thank you, Zianat and Wisdom Foundation for having me here for this very important and also very necessary roundtable discussion which we are having right now. And I must say that Zianat at the outset gave quite a detailed description of this Wisdom Foundation. In short terms, you could have just said that Wisdom Foundation stands for whatever is anathema today, you know. So that is the situation we are in at present. I must say that we have been often constantly being informed by the authorities today that we are living in the new India under the present political dispensation. Now, the question is that are we satisfied, are we happy in this new India, or do we want to go back to the old India that we were always living in, or do we want this new India to continue? And the situation before us is very precarious and extremely bleak, because we today do not have actually a government, but we have an election winning machinery. The only priority the government of the day has today is to win one election after the other. You know, everything constitutionally or unconstitutionally is being done towards a particular set goal, which is to win the next election. And what is happening today is that we are having people standing up in parliament and making hate speeches. There is absolutely no discourse in parliament today. There are only hate speeches everywhere. During electioneering, during campaigning, you only hear of hate speeches. And this hatred, this fall of hatred, this deceit, duplicity, prejudice is seeping so deep into us that is really marring our consciousness, and it's really transforming our thinking today. and it's actually in a very, very subliminal manner making us amoral, where we are unable to distinguish right from wrong and moral from immoral today. You know, today we are accepting just about everything that is happening around us and that is transparent, and we don't know, we are not aware that what danger we are today seeping into. And what is going to happen is that 2024 will be a make or break kind of a situation, because the government is not going to give in. They are going to win come what may. We have seen what has happened in 2019, how even Pulwama and Balakot were leveraged in a very, very dangerous manner for electoral gains. I mean, one never ever presumed something like that would be happening in our electoral system. And 2024 is going to be a very important situation for the present dispensation, because 2025 is the centenary year of the RSS. And because of that, there will be some changes made, perhaps to the constitution, or even without the constitution, to make this into what they believe is the Hindu Rashtra, which is staring us in the face. I doubt whether situation will even normalize after a Hindu Rashtra is created and established. Because then what will be the Hindu Rashtra? It will be again a fractious society. It will not be Hindus, it will be Dalits, it will be tribes, it will be Vokaligas, everything, you know, things will be fragmenting all the time. So why does this happen? Why does this happen all towards the Indian society? It is happening because we have the wrong people in parliament. I'm sorry, Kumar and we must be recognizing the fact that we should have absolutely the right people in parliament today, because what there have been reports that we have so many criminals. 1/3 or 2/3 of parliamentarians have extremely solid criminal records, including rape, murder, attempted murder and stuff like that. But I think there should also be a study of the educational levels of the parliamentarians. That is where we are lacking. Today, I suppose, I might be wrong, but I'm quite sure I'm quite right, that we are having the most criminal, but at the same time the most uneducated parliament in history in India. And that is where the problem begins, because we are having uneducated criminal lawmakers making laws for the country and for all of us to follow. Now that is a very, very unacceptable situation. You know, you cannot be living in a situation where you are foisted laws which are absolutely framed in a very vested interest sort of way. So we have to change this. I'm making a kind of a suggestion because that is what we are here for. I suggest that we relook at the Representation of the People's Act of 1951. If you see the qualification for people to stand for elections, it only says you have to be an elector. That's all. You only need to be a voter to be able to stand. The disqualifications of public representatives comes when you have convictions or something like that. You should have criminal record, educational record as a very important means to stand for elections. I mean, you cannot have a candidate standing for elections who is uneducated, who has a degree of entire political science, who has a degree from a university which no one knows existed, or who has studied under a professor who doesn't even know that he was there, you know. So you can't have a situation of that sort. And you know, it's very important that we need to look at this very threadbare and start at the very outset of the problem to ensure that we get the parliamentarians we deserve. And no one is just foisted on us because he has political heft and he has some influence somewhere or something like that. So that is something, because today the climate of hate has gone absolutely haywire. Every segment of the population is under attack, right from the little children to the old people, the senior citizens. From the children's time, there is an indoctrination going on because of the change in the syllabus today. The syllabus is being tampered with in a very insidious manner, and we are just accepting this. And then there are also other segments of the public. For instance, Kumar and I belong to journalism. Just imagine the radical change in journalism in our country in the last few years. I mean, today, you cannot call a spade in your reporting, because there will be some kind of guidelines which are going to be coming back, and there will be threats held out to the publishers. So you need to be very careful and looking over the shoulder all the time of what you think. You cannot write with conviction anymore. The farmers are under attack, the women are under attack, academicians are under attack, liberals are under attack, minorities are under attack. Every situation, senior citizens are under attack because they cannot save anymore. The banking rates and so on have been radically changed. There is no way in which people can save. So everyone has been absolutely ruthlessly exploited. And this hatred has seeped so much that it takes very strange forms. For instance, I mean, on a lighter vein, I can just say, I sing Hindustani classical music, both Dhrupad and Khayal. And I see the YouTube, and there was this YouTube, there is a composition in Rakhat, and that is, there was some conversation going on, and this Rakhat composition was composed by Pandit Ratan Shankar, a Hindu, obviously, a Brahmin. And in that composition, he had mentioned the words Shah-e Akbar. And one person actually wrote, we should change these words. Remove Shah-e Akbar. Why introduce a Muslim name? So I thought that maybe Shah-e Amit Bhai would be better. But I did not say that because I didn't want to be attacked by Then we have been told that there has been, we are here as maximum governance and minimum government. Now we all know what has happened to that slogan as well, you know, because there have been slogans which are being bandied around on a daily basis, and we see that what exactly happens, that whether they are just words or they, you know, translate into something more important. But I feel that what can be done today, and I agree with one of the speakers who mentioned that today the opposition is as much to blame as the ruling party, because there has been such a divide between the ruling dispensation and the rest of the country. I think the opposition has a responsibility, and it owes a responsibility to the public, that they should also counter what is happening, because by 2024, I think all the opposition leaders will be having the CBI and ED knocking on the doors. And if they probably even escape those doors, then I don't even know whether they will be living freely in this country. So it's going to be very, very dangerous, because we see the trends which are happening, that each one after the other, is being acted against. So the opposition should counter in such a way that there should be cases. I mean, one thing is that I have two suggestions. One was that we should really have a review of the Representation of Peoples Act, and another thing is we should also have cases lodged against the ruling party and their affiliates all across the country. Everywhere, anywhere there is an opportunity, you will file cases. And I must say that there are opportunities galore. What the things that are happening today, you know, we have very, very dangerous things happening. Even say, for instance, say going campaigning and saying we must have a double engine government. What is double engine government? It is unconstitutional.
That's right.
Unconstitutional. What do you mean by double engine government? Means that if you don't vote for us in our party in this state, we will be, you will be alienating this state from the central government. I mean, that is a threat held out. We also found a threat held out by the Home Minister to the Karnataka electorate that if you don't vote for our party, there will be riots in this state. And there is nothing happening. The courts don't. Today the courts are absolutely supine. The judiciary is supine before the government today. There should be some proactivism. Of course, I know that there are fetters and so on, and people are, I mean, they are scared about themselves and their families today. You know, there is a situation where people are actually living in hatred and in fear. So there is really no way in which, but if we can come to a kind of a solution, that there will be cases. There are so many places, things happening. For instance, the national security has been impaired by deals like Rafale. We have seen that the Rafale deal is not only something about corruption, it actually impairs national security because our Air Force desperately needed 126 aircraft. A deal was signed arbitrarily for 36 aircraft. People are not asking what has happened to the 90 aircraft which were required. And now, as time proceeds, the Indian Air Force is losing out on the squadrons. So we need to have 44 squadrons, for instance, and the sanctioned force rate is 44 squadrons. We are having now 31 squadrons, and in the next 2-3 years, we'll be having 25 squadrons. So we are actually harming our own Air Force and air defenses in that way. In the Navy also, we have some problems with the submarines and so on. We have a lot of things. So we should be having cases filed on such issues. And I think that the sooner we take these things very seriously, the better will it be for all of us. And I think that will also be a kind of a safeguard for us for 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your insight and for all you have to mention, all that you have mentioned. Thank you so much. We now go to Father Gilbert. Yes.
Name is enough.
He's a professor at St. Francis College. Done wonderful work, a great scholar, and